Well, greetings and salutations, everybody. Welcome to the best damn movie-related show on the planet Earth, the John Campea Show, coming from right here on my YouTube channel. I am, of course, your host, John Campea, and it is an awesome honor and privilege, as it is every day, to have you, our international friends, gather around as we talk about our favorite things in the world, movies, movie news, TV, streaming, Obi-Wan, and all sorts of good stuff. Sitting over here next to us, he might be the fifth brother, but he's not the least among us, Mr. Robert Meyer Burnett. Robert, how you doing today, sir?
I'm well today, John. It's good to be back here. I can't believe how much we have to talk about on the show.
There's a lot.
We were sitting here yesterday, and when we went off the air, there was just a deluge, like a tsunami of goodness.
Yep, and the goodness continued for the rest of the day, as a matter of fact.
Yes, it did.
Speaking of goodness, that continues all day. At least that's what it said in the bathroom stall. Next to him, Aaron Cummings. Aaron, how you doing?
Hey, I love it. Well, no one in our household got any sleep last night, including Joey Bishop. So she is sleeping in today. I am sadly without my puppy, but I am full of excitement and joy over all of the incredible things that we saw yesterday and last night that we have to talk about today. So I'm going to stop talking and we'll get right to it.
Yeah, and it was good. By the way, big excitement yesterday. I was doing John Campea After Dark, which is up on the channel right now, and I was going to get myself ready to watch Obi-Wan at midnight, and then they dropped the news, Obi-Wan at 9 p.m. I'm like, okay, guys, we're going to cut After Dark a little bit short today, so that was good too. Anyway, guys, here's how today's show's going to go. We're going to break it up into two parts. In the first half of the show, we're going to take some predetermined topics. Then in the second half of the show, we're going to take your live comments and questions. So first of all, you got to be watching live. So when we get to the end of the main topics, we're going to announce that we're opening up the super chats. And once we do, you'll have a couple of minutes that you can fire in some super chats for us to address. So if you've got a thought, comment, question, observation, theory, whatever, you can fire those in there. One other little bit of housekeeping, guys. Going to remind you that if you need your daily fix of the John Campea Show, but you can't be in front of a YouTube video, maybe you're at work or you're on a treadmill, whatever, good news, there is an audio-only version of our show, which we simply call creatively the John Campea Show podcast. And it is available on your favorite podcasting app of choice. Again, look at those 5 stars. Anyway, just go on your favorite podcasting app, search for the John Campea Show, and subscribe to it today. Also, we have a separate podcast feed for our Mailbag show. So just go on your favorite podcast app and search for Mailbag, a John Campea Show podcast, and subscribe to it today. So those, just like condoms, you want them to be there when you need them. Subscribe to them today. All right, guys. With that down, let's get things started here with our main topics. And how do we select our main topics in the John Campea Show? Well, it's really simple. You guys come up with our main topics. See, whenever you come across a big topic, issue, or story that you guys feel we need to cover as a main topic on the show, just go anytime, 24/7, over to www.thejohncampeashow.com/contact. Once you guys get there, you're going to see a form. Fill it out with your topic or question. It's absolutely free. Hit submit, and then maybe, just maybe, you might see your submission featured as a main topic here on the John Campea Show. With that down, Aaron, what is our first main topic today?
Our first main topic comes to us from Anthony D. Hey there, John and company. Hello. Did you all have a chance to see the Willow trailer? Are you excited for this show? I personally love the movie more than I likely should, and I can't wait to see the show.
All right, thanks for sending that in, Anthony. And, going into Star Wars Celebration, I can't remember if it was you, Rob. It probably wasn't you, but I was having a discussion with somebody about whether we're going to see other things at Celebration, like Indiana Jones, which we'll talk about here in a bit, or Willow. And I said, well, 50-50. They are Lucasfilm properties, but they're not Star Wars, but they did. Now, we've known they were making Willow for a long time now, and we've known they wrapped on the thing. And of course, who doesn't have fond memories of Willow? Listen, I'm going to admit, I don't hold Willow, the original film, as high as a number of other people do, but I certainly enjoyed the film, and I remember it fondly. Warwick Davis, of course, he's a global treasure, Warwick Davis, so it's great seeing him in there. And they decided to drop the first trailer for it. And I'll tell you what, I thought it was great. I really did. I'm not going to lie, it is not amongst one of my most anticipated projects of the year in television or film. I'm not going to pretend that it is, but the little behind the scenes things, and I haven't been thrilled with the casting choices just because that doesn't feel like a cast that fits together, and they really haven't given much away about the story. But as soon as the music starts to play, you're like, oh, this feels familiar. And then they start talking about Alara, who's probably the new empress or whatever. And then once you hear Warwick's voice, all of a sudden I'm like, why do I feel all cozy? I suddenly feel very cozy and comfortable as soon as Warwick starts playing. And I'll tell you what, the job of a trailer, as we always say, is to take your enthusiasm level for a project and bump it up a couple of notches. The trailer did that for me. I liked what I saw. Rob, you had a chance to check out the Willow trailer. What did you think about it?
Well, like you, I liked the original movie. I liked Val Kilmer's Mad Mardigan and Joanne Whaley, who later became his wife. She was great too. And what is it, Queen Bavmorda?
Yeah.
Is that the name? And then I was telling you earlier, the two-headed dragon in that is called the Eber-Sisk, named after Roger Ebert and Gene Siskel, which I actually used to have a toy of. But I didn't, it's a movie I liked, like you. You went to Lucasfilm and Ron Howard directing, and it was fun. But it felt like Tolkien or Terry Brooks light. It was full.
Right, yeah.
It was fine. We can't make Lord of the Rings now, but we'll make this.
My high school's days were filled with a lot of Terry Brooks books.
Yeah. I mean, I liked it, but I didn't have any kind of devoted attachment to it, But that said, like you, I watched this trailer and I'm like, okay, this looks pretty good. The production values are there. I liked the characters and I liked what we saw, and I was interested. If you asked me, like you put out a tweet yesterday where you said, hey, we've got Top Gun, we got Willow, we got Indiana Jones. It feels like 1986. Yeah. And I was like, totally. I laughed, and I'm like, you're right. But then I'm thinking, if Top Gun Maverick becomes the new benchmark, and if people are shooting that high and we're going to get great shows, what's not to like? I mean, I loved the Dark Crystal series that only lasted.
Don't remind me.
I
They canceled it after one season. That was fantastic.
I mean, the Dark Crystal is a movie I always thought was it's always kind of left me cold, but I've always thought it was a stunning achievement. And I've always the score is great, the design is great, but it's hard for me to get into a movie where there's no human beings. It's all puppets. But I've always respected Dark Crystal. So when I went in and saw the show, I was like, I'll watch this. I was blown away at how good it was.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking maybe Willow will be the equivalent of what Dark Crystal was. Hopefully it'll go more than one season. But if it's that good, we might be in for something special.
I mean, here's hoping. But by the way, just to get everything caught up here, this comes to us from the folks over at Mashable, and they wrote the following. Willow brings back star Warwick Davis, love him, as the eponymous spell-slinging Nelwyn, the little people of Willow fantasy universe. In the original film, Willow and his friends saved an infant girl who was prophesied to topple the forces of darkness that presided over the land at the time. The series picks up years later with a new, younger group of heroes joining Willow himself on a dangerous quest to places far beyond their home, where they must face their inner demons and come together to save the world. And that, of course, again, comes to us from Mashable. There's a part in the trailer where he says, we must go into the unknown. And I expected the song from Frozen 2 to start playing something like that. I don't know. Aaron, you had a chance to see this trailer. What did you think about the Willow trailer?
I really enjoyed it. And when you talk about that feeling of being all warm and cozy the moment that you see Warwick Davis, absolutely. I mean, the man has been working nonstop. I mean, for some of us who are not necessarily as aware, we don't get, Google alerts every time Warwick Davis shows up on your television screen.
Speak for yourself.
I know, exactly. I was actually quite surprised and excited to see that Warwick Davis has been working absolutely in just about everything. So good for him for having such a beautiful career that has gone on very much since the original Willow, and now he's able to have this resurrection for those of us who do have that beautiful nostalgia. And I know that this is, I'm almost, I hate to say it because I just know my company right now, but the moment that I got a feeling of, warm coziness was when I saw that image of the crooked staff. God damn it. I know. I'm just already I know. Rob is holding his tongue.
No, hey.
But there is that thing. It was such an iconic image of the walking stick, that staff that was so knobby and crooked. And the moment that I saw that, I went, Oh my gosh, it just brought back this flood of memories of the original film and seeing Warwick Davis's face, and there's just something really nostalgic about that. I also, speaking of the casting, what I thought was really interesting was the addition of Erin Kellyman, who, if you remember from Falcon and Winter Soldier, she was the girl who was running away. They kept trying to go in and talk to her, and she was the orphan. She was so great in Falcon and Winter Soldier, and so I'm excited to see what she does in the world of Willow as well. But I feel the same thing. It's very Tolkien light. However, I'm intrigued.
John, you're saying, and I have to say this, I had forgotten. If you asked me what the Willow theme song was, I might not have been able to tell you right away. As soon as you heard it in that trailer, dun, 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 I'm like, it all just came flooding back. And you forget, with cable and home video, I don't know how many times I've watched Willow. Probably 50. And it's funny because I haven't revisited the film since the 80s. I do not have Willow in physical media.
I don't believe
What?
that.
I know, I don't. And I was thinking about it last night because I'm like, I kind of want to watch Willow again, and I'm going to have to go get it.
See, that's strange to me because, if some guy named Terrence who owns a 7-Eleven on 5th Street says, I've got security footage from a night in 2014 and it's on a disc somewhere, you would say, would you surprise me to find out that I have a 4K Blu-ray of that security footage and you don't have Willow?
I don't have Willow, and I don't know why. I was thinking about that, why don't I own Willow? I've never owned Willow. I never owned Willow on Laserdisc, on DVD, on Blu-ray. I don't think there's a 4K of Willow up, but I don't own it.
Well, now is a great time to get it,
Now's
Rob.
a very good time. By the way, you bring up Warwick Davis, right? Warwick Davis might be the quietest, most successful actor of all time. Think about this. Mm-hmm. Between his work with Ricky Gervais and Willow and Harry Potter and Star Wars, this guy is like, oh, you've been in some good things? Hold my beer.
Yeah.
See, he's seriously just very quietly, over the decades, amassed one of the most enviable resumes in the history of Hollywood. So good on him. Anyway, guys, question is for you. Did you have a chance to check out the Willow trailer? If so, did you like it? Are you excited about it? Whatever you guys think, jump down in the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. With that down, let's move on to main topic number 2. By the way, live chat is upset with me. How could I possibly overlook the Leprechaun franchise? I apologize. Okay, I didn't have time to do everything that he's done.
And wasn't a very young Jennifer Aniston in the first Leprechaun? I think that was her first movie was Leprechaun. It was something like that.
And,
anyway.
and didn't they go? There's Leprechaun in space, right?
Yes, I believe there
There
is.
better be.
Well, there
No,
actually
just Jason
are,
is
in reality, they are. So, yeah.
Yes, in reality they are.
That's where they're from.
All right, guys, with that down, let's move on to main topic number 2. Aaron, what is our second main topic today?
Our second main topic comes to us from Roger Wilkes. I was 10 years old when the first Indiana Jones came out. My mother always reminds me that I spent the next few years running around the yard, having imaginary adventures with any hat I could find and a piece of string as my whip. I heard you
That
once
feels
say that
oddly
Indiana
familiar.
Jones is the default model of what an adventure film is. And you're right. Seeing the first image of the new film filled me with a joy that's hard to explain. Hopefully with no Tarzan monkeys this time.
All right, thanks a lot for sending that in, Roger. Look, and who among us, over the age of, 35, didn't at some point run around pretending their backyard were the deepest, darkest jungles, and that rock over in the corner was an ancient artifact, and that one, little thing going across the hose running across your lawn was a unjumpable chasm that you had to get.
And then we pretended to open our cat's head and eat the brain because it was a monkey.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Oh,
My
God.
childhood.
Chilled monkey brains. It's one of the greatest lines ever in movies. And yeah, Indiana Jones. Listen, when you say an action film, you can come up with a lot of films. You say sci-fi, you can have a lot of discussion. But when you say adventure, if you get a room of 100 people and you say, when talking about the movies, what comes to your mind when the word adventure comes up? It's Indiana Jones. That is the gold standard of all things when it comes. Every adventure movie that ever comes out is always immediately compared to Indiana Jones, and for good reason. Anyway, it's Star Wars Celebration. John Williams came out on stage, and this was great watching the video footage of it. John Williams comes out on stage, and he's conducting an orchestra playing the Indiana Jones theme music. And as it ends, Harrison Ford comes walking out on stage. And partly to celebrate John Williams' 90th birthday. And of course, Harrison Ford waxed poetic for a few minutes about how great John Williams is and what a wonderful person he is and all that kind of stuff. Everything like you'd want to hear him say. And then Harrison Ford says something amazing. He goes, "That music has been with me my entire life." And the Indiana Jones theme, even when I went in for my colonoscopy, it was playing in the background with me. It was pretty good. But they brought up an image, the first image of Indiana Jones 5. They brought that up in the room there for everybody to take a look at. And there it is there, which, I mean, look, Harrison Ford, well, happy 90th to John Williams in very short period of time here, like days, weeks, we're going to be celebrating Harrison Ford's 80th. But I'm telling you what, that picture captures Indiana Jones. Like everything about this image is pure Indiana Jones. And I'm not going to lie to you. As soon as I see that, my thoughts immediately go to the Indiana Jones ride at Disneyland, which is my favorite ride at Disneyland, is the Indiana Jones ride. But seeing him again in the hat, walking across a rickety bridge and all that kind of stuff. And, you know, he said he's not very forthcoming a lot. Like, I've interviewed Harrison Ford a few times, and he's usually very reserved. But it's nice to hear him come out on stage and say, look, I am really proud of this film. Which, of course, he's working with a director like James Mangold. Very exciting. They didn't show any footage, which is what I really kind of want to see. But they've got a release date now. It's the 5th release date for it. But I think, was it June something? June 2023. Yeah. So next summer, about a year from now, a little over a year from now, it'll get bumped again to 2027 or something like that. But I thought the presentation was great. Hearing that music, Harrison Ford on stage, seeing the image, felt great to me. Rob, you had a chance to see it. What the first thing came to your head?
The first thing that came to my head, and I mean this not in a disparaging way at all, I was like, Indy, rattle and hum. Because
it totally has a rattle and hum,
right? Doesn't it? So for those
does.
of you who want, Rattle and Hum was, of course, the Phil Joannou directed U2 concert film.
Yeah, my favorite concert film of all time.
I have to tell you, I saw it in Westwood, and I think Phil Joannou was at the screening. It was the loudest movie I have ever heard. Movies can't be loud enough, but this was the loudest. It was thunderous. But when I saw that picture, that was the first thing that popped into my mind. I meant it in a good way, because the ad campaign for that had that backlit, silhouetted, Bono.
It was Bono holding the light on a silhouetted Edge playing guitar.
Yeah,
I remember it very well.
And so that was the first thing that struck me, because like you, I love that image. I'm like, that is a quintessential Indiana Jones image. And John, I think back, the first time that I saw Indy, back in the early 80s, they would have public previews. So they would show a movie, and then they're like, and if you come, you get a bonus film.
Right.
And when Raiders of the Lost Ark was coming out, even though Spielberg and Lucas made it, if you look at the first trailer, what is this movie about? Like, you're looking at it, no one knew what it was about. Like, are they looking for Noah's Ark? Like, what is it? And the trailer doesn't really do a very good job of conveying what it was. So my friends and I, we had to go see Excalibur again. And they were sitting there wondering, like, what is this movie? Like, how is it going to be? Dude, it was one of those times where you're sitting in the movie theater and you're like, I can't believe what I'm watching. From the opening scene in South America, and you see Indiana Jones crack his whip when the gun comes out. He's backlit and walks into the light. And Alfred Molina's there as Sapito, and that whole opening scene. I mean, now it's so silly.
Throw me the idol, I throw you the whip.
Yeah, everyone knows the scene. But we walked in, it was like me and 6 of my friends not knowing anything. Like, it wasn't like now we'd seen 4 different trailers. We didn't know anything except this weird trailer that didn't tell you much. Like, what does it mean? Dude, it was one of those movies where I kind of feel like maybe seeing Top Gun with you guys, Maverick, felt the same way. I was elated. Like, when that movie was over, I'm like, both Paramount movies. But when you walked out of Raiders, I wanted a hat and a whip.
Yeah.
And it was such a great... I think Raiders of the Lost Ark, I would go so far as to say it's almost a perfect movie.
Yeah.
And I love the franchise. I mean, yeah, you can bag on Kingdom of the Crystal Skull all you want. There's a lot to bag on. But I still love Indiana Jones, dude.
So just give a little bit more context to the event that happened yesterday. The good folks over at IndieWire wrote the following about it. They said this. They said the first look at Indiana Jones 5 debuted at the 2022 Star Wars Celebration in Anaheim, California, and fans and critics alike are already praising the film's epic adventure as previewed, with Harrison Ford donning his classic wide-brimmed hat and lasso for one final time. It's a whip. It's not a lasso, guys at IndieWire. Come on.
Yeah.
Ford introduced the first look as John Williams' iconic theme song was performed on stage. That music follows me everywhere, Ford joked during the conversation. It was playing in the operating room when I had my colonoscopy. I passed. Ford confirmed that the installment is almost completed as of May 26th. I'm really proud of this film. The Oscar nominee added, by the way, that image of just John Williams with Harrison Ford.
Oh, yeah.
That's a still image you blow up, you frame, and you put on a wall. Like that's an amazing
There's a lot of
image.
love there.
Yeah, there is. And these guys have worked together for 40 years in multiple franchises. Anyway, Aaron, we had a chance to see the first image. You heard about the event. Where's your anticipation level like right now for a new Indiana Jones film? And what do you think about the image?
Well, when Rob first brought up the image yesterday, the first thing that came out of my mouth was, that looks like Michael Jackson. And going along, along with the rattle and hum image,
the silhouette.
there is this iconic silhouette of Michael Jackson the first time in 1983, the first time that he ever performed the moonwalk live when he was doing Billie Jean with his classic sequin glove. And so that image...
and he's tipping his hat.
And he's tipping his hat down. So it was like and that's the thing is there comes over time this repeated iconic imagery. And, one can't say, oh, this was taken or stolen. But I think that it's just these little things that remind us, and it weaves together this nostalgia for a certain time period. And the 80s and the 90s are kind of it right now. Everything old is new again. And in the 90s, everything was in, the 60s and 70s. And now here we are. I mean, I'm wearing my high-waisted rib cage jeans with the wide, pants. I was like, I never thought I would be wearing these again. Skinny jeans forever. Skinny jeans are gone. It's all about the high waist now. So, I really, there's a beautiful nostalgia that's coming back from that image. It has so many other things that it's reminding me of from that time period. I see that rickety bridge and I immediately think Goonies. The kids crossing that bridge. And when you talk about gold standards, I think that what came to me when I was looking at the image while you were saying that. And if you look, the ray of light could have been any other hue, but the ray of light is gold. And that those little raindrops that are falling from the earth above almost, and you can't really see it on this image, but if you look at it close up, they almost look like flecks of gold falling down. And this is such a beautiful way for Harrison Ford to end this incredibly iconic character that is so beloved for so many generations. And for those of us, like you said, of the age of 35 and above, we can now share this with a younger generation who can see. And I really hope that, unlike some of our previous indie sequels, that this really does close out the franchise for Harrison Ford, at least, in a way that will honor the legacy of the original film. And one of the things that for me as a takeaway is, how many times have we seen in a television show or a movie or even in commercials a door closing and there's a hat on the ground and somebody's got to reach in and grab that hat and pull it out. That is one of the most repeated moments that we all just know, oh, that's from Indy. That's that grabbing the hat before that wall comes down. That hat is so important. And I just love that the hat and his not lasso, but whip, lasso, come on, guys. I just love that they're really paying tribute to those iconic images.
And it's funny, speaking of that, Aaron, and save your thoughts on cats, John. We actually named one of my cats Indy because when she was so young, she had a habit of every time we were about to close the door, she'd just dart right through and just make it through the closing door. So we're calling her Indy.
That's why cats are just the best animals ever, and John Campea is a monster.
Yeah, cats. Hey, listen, eventually you run out of firewood. So anyway, guys, question is for you.
Oh my God.
Boy.
What do you think about the new image for Indiana Jones 5 now coming out June 2023. Are you excited? Listen, I'll tell you what. I have had no excitement for this project yet because there's still a part of me that doesn't believe it's real.
Right.
After yesterday, I'm starting to feel it a bit. Anyway, how are you guys feeling about it? Whatever you think, jump down to the comment section below and leave us your thoughts. All right, guys. With that all down, and before we move on to our next topic, we want to take a second and thank one of the sponsors of today's episode of the John Campea Show, my new phone service provider, and our friends over at Mint Mobile. Guys, we want to thank the sponsor of today's video, Mint Mobile. You know, the one with the delightful ads with good Canadian kid Ryan Reynolds. So look, after years of fine print contracts and getting ripped off by big wireless providers, if we've learned anything, it's that there's always a catch. So when I first heard that Mint Mobile offers premium wireless starting at just $15 a month, I thought, what's the catch? But after talking to them and using their service, it all made sense. There isn't a catch. And guys, that's no joke, because for years I've been using one of the major providers and it was fine. But I switched over to Mint Mobile a little while ago. The service has been fantastic. And the big difference is I'm now paying about 1/3 of what I was paying before. And the best part for anybody who just hates their phone bills is that Mint Mobile offers premium wireless for just $15 a month. All of their plans come with unlimited talk and text plus high-speed data delivered on the nation's largest 5G network. Use your own phone with any Mint Mobile plan and keep your same phone number along with all your existing contacts. To get your new wireless plan for just $15 a month and get the plan shipped to your door for free, go to mintmobile.com/Campea. That's mintmobile.com/Campea. Cut your wireless bill to $15 a month at mintmobile.com/Campea. And again, a big thank you to our folks over at Mint Mobile. Again, no kidding. I switched over to Mint Mobile. I am literally paying like 1/3 of what I used to pay. The service is great. Guys, check out their link with the promo code down in the description of this video. Switch over to Mint Mobile now. And remember, guys, when you support our sponsors, you're also supporting our show. So thank you again to Mint Mobile for supporting the John Campea Show. All right, with that down, let's move on to main topic number 3. Aaron, what is our third main topic today?
Our third main topic comes from Michael O'Hearn. Hi, John and crew. Hello. So Jude Law was announced yesterday as the lead in the new Star Wars series called Skeleton Crew, due for release in 2023. Do you think this has any impact on his role as Dumbledore in the Fantastic Beasts movie? Thanks.
All right, thanks a lot for sending that in, Michael. And yeah, listen, I was surprised when one of the big things that happened at Star Wars Celebration yesterday was talking about John Watts, the guy who directed Spider-Man Far From Home, Spider-Man Homecoming, Spider-Man No Way Home, one of the most successful films of all time. They had just announced he was doing a series. They're way further along on this series than I think anybody realized, because if this thing is coming out next year, he has been working on this for a while, which means Kevin Feige knew he wasn't going to be directing Fantastic Four for a long time. This wasn't new and recent. This means like 6 months ago, they knew he wasn't going to be doing it. At any rate, they came on stage to talk about it, and they gave some breakdown. I mean, you had Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni, who of course can act as producers on it. You had John Watts out there talking about, describing it as, they show this great image of this giant ship with these 10-year-old kids standing around. And he broke it down. He says, this is a story. He goes, and Jon Favreau was quick to point out, this is not a show for kids. But it's a show that captures the awe and wonder of the Star Wars galaxy through the eyes of kids. And he says they get lost in the Star Wars galaxy on this ship. And then they announce the star of the series, and it's Jude Law. And I instantly got really excited about that because I love Jude Law. I wasn't expecting to hear a name like him put in this. Anyway, this is what the folks over at The Hollywood Reporter had to say about it. They wrote the following. Jude Law is heading to the galaxy far, far away. The actor will star in Star Wars Skeleton Crew, the series that is being developed by Spider-Man trilogy director John Watts and writer Christopher Ford, the writer of Watts' Spider-Man Homecoming movie. The announcement was made at Star Wars Celebration, which also saw Watts' series, which was operating under the code name of Grammar Rodeo, given an official title, Star Wars Skeleton Crew. Thursday's Lucasfilm panel also revealed a few more. The story is set in the New Republic era and tells of a group of kids lost in the Star Wars galaxy trying to find their way home. So this show is happening in the same time period as things like Mandalorian, Book of Boba Fett, Ahsoka Tano, and Dave Filoni kind of teased that it is all going to tie in in some way, some shape, some form. Now, as far as will this interfere with Jude Law being in the Fantastic Beasts movies? Well, number one, that's assuming there's going to be another Fantastic Beasts movie. I certainly hope there is. I like the last one, but it didn't do great financially, so we'll see. But if there is, it ain't going to affect it at all. Listen, actors can work on 4, 5, 6, 7 projects in a year. So just because he's doing one thing doesn't mean at all that he can't be involved with something else. And by the way, if this thing's coming out in 2023, he's going to be done whatever he's going to be doing on this movie probably by January, February of 2023. So there's plenty of time for him to do 12 other movies. No big deal. Number one, I'm very excited about this. John Watts has done such an incredible job with those Spider-Man movies. And I think we all take for granted how difficult of a job he was tasked with. You're walking into his franchise that's about to get its third incarnation in the same generation. Its third incarnation. Now also trying to segue it and tie it into the MCU. The expectations were monumentally high, and he did nothing but walk in and crush it every single time, culminating with Star Wars or Spider-Man No Way Home, one of the most successful films in cinematic history. That's all he did. So for him,
Easy.
to come into this and working alongside guys like Jon Favreau to make this universe, the whole idea of exploring the vastness of the Star Wars galaxy, trying to recapture that awe and wonder of that galaxy far, far away, and then bringing in a guy like Jude Law, who I absolutely love. There is nothing not to be excited about this. I think this sounds fantastic. I love that he's connected to it. Anyway, Rob, you had a chance to see this. What do you think about the project overall, and what do you think about Jude Law being attached?
Well, first of all, I'm a huge Jude Law fan. I mean, I loved him in everything from Gattaca to The Talented Mr. Ripley. I'm just to a movie called Closer that he was in. I love Jude Law. So put him in a role where, is he a space pirate? Is he? I don't know. But I'm like, bring him on. Having him in the Star Wars universe, I think it's great casting. And that's the way to anchor. When you start talking about, well, it's kids lost in space in the Star Wars universe. It's like, okay, well, but when you have Jude Law, like running the ship or whatever the hell he's doing. I don't know what he's doing. That gets me excited. That's not, and when they said it's not for kids. So, we were saying, I was convinced that they would announce John Watts' project I said a couple, before I was sick, I said a couple weeks ago that I thought they were going to announce he's going to do Kevin Feige's project.
Right.
Obviously that changed, but they still did announce it. So like you pointed out, they're way ahead of the game here.
Yeah, they are.
And so I would expect that we haven't heard the only announcements out of Star Wars Celebration, because we haven't heard anything about movies yet. And so we'll probably
That's
get
probably
more
going
of
to be today and tomorrow.
Yeah. But I do think, this is really exciting. As you pointed out, I think John Watts, his first movie was a Cop Car?
I think so.
I really liked him as a creator. And since this is a show that he's come up with, he's probably had this idea for a long time, and Spider-Man got him the power to call his own shots, I think, a little bit. And that excites me, that you have an auteur, a director who's also developed the show, doing something. And it sounds to me like this will be, I'm curious, unique, new, interesting. I'm excited.
Aaron, you had a chance to hear about this. Jude Law is going to be in it now. What do you think about the news?
Well, first of all, to address the issue of is this going to affect this other major project, we were just talking about Harrison Ford, and Harrison Ford famously was playing Indiana Jones and
what's his name?
brain fart.
Han Solo.
Han Solo. Thank
What's his
you.
name?
Jesus.
What's his
wow. Brain fart at the wrong time. Famously playing Han Solo and Indiana Jones pretty much around at the same time, having two massive franchises at a time when, let's face it, there weren't a ton of franchises. Now there are so many properties, and, there are obviously a lot of actors and to choose from, but when you talk about actors of a certain degree, of a certain caliber to, as you said, elevate the project, there are not a lot of actors on the level of Jude Law. So it's not surprising to see someone like Jude Law having multiple properties happening at the same time. And as you said, these things are all scheduled to the nth degree. So it's not like he's doing a Michael J. Fox and running from the set of Family Ties to the set of Back to the Future,
Right.
and working 24 hours a day. These things are very much scheduled. Don't worry, Jude Law is getting his beauty rest. And I love what you said about anchoring the cast, because in the same way that Gene Wilder anchored a cast of children in Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory so that it wasn't a, quote, kids movie. When you have someone like Jude Law, who has such an incredible range as an actor, but also a depth, and I'm really loving the images of the more seasoned, we should say, the more mature looking Jude Law. In my mind, I always see the image of him as the talented Mr. Ripley, but that movie came out 20 years ago.
Yeah.
The guy's got a few gray hairs now, and he's really aged well in the same way that I think Ethan Hawke, when I saw him in Moon Knight, I was like, wow, Ethan Hawke grew up, and I like this more grizzled version of him. And similarly, I really like this, the way that Jude Law has seemed to come into his own as an older actor. And given what, I won't belabor this too much because I know we're going to talk about it in a minute, the young actress who plays Princess Leia, Vivian Lyra Blair, if we're getting 10-year-old children who have that kind of talent, sign me up for Skeleton Crew, because I don't care the age of an actor. If you have the depth and emotional range of some of these child actors that we're seeing, it doesn't matter how old they are. Their performances alone are gonna bring me in and make me captivated every single time. So I don't think this is like the Hannah Montana, school of acting. No offense to anyone who loves Hannah Montana or the actors that were on that show, but this is not like a Disney Channel, type of acting.
Right, yeah.
This is really high caliber, and I agree Jude Law is gonna anchor it with what he brings. And I'm actually really excited about this.
All right, guys, the question is for you. What do you think about the announcements about Star Wars Skeleton Crew, having the showrunners up there talking about it? We now know Jude Law is starring in it, which I get all due respect to all the projects you mentioned. I don't know why, when I think of Jude Law, I think of his incredible Dr. Watson.
He was great.
Yeah, in the Sherlock Holmes movie. I loved him.
I
in
totally
that role.
forgot about it. It's funny. I always forget about those movies. I love those movies.
So do
Yeah.
I.
I want them to make a third one.
Well, they keep talking about
I know.
it. Guy Ritchie can get around to it. I don't know if he'll be involved at this time. Anyway, what do you guys think about this news? Whatever your thoughts are, jump down to the comment section below and leave those thoughts there. Okay, guys. With that down, let's move now on to main topic number 4. Aaron, what is our 4th main topic today?
This comes to us from Matt. Hello, John and gang. Well, hello. Happy Star Wars Friday. I know everyone will be talking about Obi-Wan today, but we saw our first look at Andor, which comes out at the end of summer, and my goodness, I knew we were going to be seeing the early parts of the rebellion, or reckoning as they call it, but it looks gritty, dark, and hopeless, which is what this period I expected to be all about. You have the mix of Clone War and Imperial Stormtrooper armor and more Imperialized gunships, which looks sick, and I know Rob will get a hot toy of it. And it looks like we are headed back to Coruscant. It gives us a tease which I love. What did you guys think of the Andor trailer? And especially since we know it is a 2-season series. Thanks, and may the Force be with you always.
Amongst all the Star Wars projects that have been coming out, one of the more interesting ones has been Andor. And the reason I got excited when they announced Andor at the last D23 was because I love this idea. If you're going to have a rebellion, it's not going to be clean and tidy and innocent. There's going to be a lot of dirty work. There's going to be bloodshed. There's going to be some bad deeds need to be done by certain people. And Cassian Andor was that guy. And they made that very clear in Rogue One, right? And it weighed heavy on him. So when they announced that they wanted to do a series about that side of the rebellion, I became very intrigued by it. So we've been kind of waiting to get some tangible news about it. And then a whole lot of news about Andor came out yesterday. One of the most exciting things for me, 12 episodes. And on top of that, they also announced already they're going to start shooting in a few months. They're going to do a season 2, and it will also have 12 episodes, and it will culminate with it heading into Rogue One. So there won't be a season 3. But we are going to get 24 episodes of this, which is totally excited in and of itself. We got a release date. It's coming in August. So it's coming sooner than we thought it was going to come, which is great. By the way, is She-Hulk not coming? What, Ray, can you look it up? But I think She-Hulk's release date is like August 17th or something. I'm not 100% sure, but Ray, if you can find that out, let me know for sure. Which means we're going to have another set of an MCU show and a Star Wars show that are actually overlapping with each other.
August 17th.
What's that?
August 17th.
It's August 17th. So we're going to have, so She-Hulk is still going to be running by the time Andor starts playing. That's great. But then the trailer. Look, whenever we talk about comic book movies, and all of us as fans, whenever we talk about Star Wars movies or comic book movies or whatever, we are all prone to hyperbole. We are. But I have watched this trailer now 8, 9 times. This is the best Star Wars anything trailer I've seen since I think it was the second Rogue One trailer. And remember, I'm just talking trailers. But this trailer is better than any other Star Wars related trailer I've seen in 6, 7 years. Whenever Rogue One came out, I can't remember when it came out, but in years. This is focusing on drama. It actually focuses on the dirtier side of the Imperial takeover. The Empire didn't just take over. It's like, hey, no, like the actual thing of an invading, occupying force now coming in, taking over your society, your things like that, and the people who rise up. And man, there's a line in this trailer when she says, this is what a reckoning looks like. And like, oh God, like this was first of all, it's unlike any Star Wars trailer I've ever seen. I love the fact, and I've been crying and whining and bitching for years about, come on guys, this is Star Wars. This is a billions of galaxies. No, let's tell different kinds of stories. This looks like a different kind of story. This is everything I wanted this thing to look like. This is everything. It feels everything I wanted it to feel like. I don't know how good the show's going to be. And I'm still a little butthurt that we're not getting K2SO in it. So I'm still a little bit butthurt about that. But
that we know of.
That we know of. But I think Alan Tudyk said he's not in season 1. Yeah. But who knows? We'll see. But this trailer has all the promise that I wanted, and I thought it was absolutely magnificent. Rob, you had a chance to see the trailer for Andor. What did you think about it?
You know what? I have to echo your sentiments here because, you know, this show has had a fitful development process. You know, they had written scripts, and I had read that they like had to retool them all, and the fact that Tony Gilroy is the creative entity behind this, the fact this was shot in Europe as opposed to on the volume stages in Manhattan Beach, which I think has become kind of a crutch, but we can talk about that later. You know, this looks to be a serious adult examination of where the galaxy is at, and I think I enjoyed Obi-Wan, but I was a little disappointed in their portrayal of the universe. We haven't seen much of it.
Well, let's not go into Obi-Wan much.
Well,
here.
no, but I mean, I'm just the idea of if you have a republic that is then replaced by an empire, how does that affect the galaxy? I mean, if we go back into our own history, it's not always a good thing, you know, and you look at Roman history, you look at the rise and fall of empires, this looks to deal with, like, I love in this trailer, you see the every person. You know, the gong is banged, and you see people dropping their window shades, and everyone's looking up and covering up their weapons, and you know, people are scattering because, man, those gunships are coming, man. The Imperial gunships, they used to be Republic gunships, they're not anymore. And those three right there, bruh. You know, you look at that, I was like, I was like, oh. I mean, I was looking at this going, this is what I've wanted to see from Star Wars. You know, the fact is the Empire should be scary. And when you saw Star Wars, I always go back to the original Star Wars. To me, that is the best. But when the Empire shows up and gets the blockade runner, it destroys the engines, captures the blockade runner, blows its way inside the ship. The stormtroopers come in, takes over. They're good at their jobs. The Empire's scary. You know, and then it's kind of been diminished over the years. This, to me, looks like the Empire is scary again. and people are terrified, and that's where the rebellion begins, and that's what I want. I mean, dude, this is exactly. I know it's trailer. I understand. I'm just saying that this, to me, it's the Star Wars I've wanted to see. It is called Star Wars, not Star Skirmish. I want to see what a war is. I mean, war is
Star
bad. It's
spat.
horrible. Yeah, it's Star Spat.
It's not Star Friends.
It's not Star
Wars.
Friends. Yeah.
Star Wars.
Yeah, and this to me, man, I don't think I've been as excited. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I was excited to see Rogue One.
Yeah.
And I read the prequel novel to that, which I really liked, and this is I think the most excited I've been about any Star Wars thing in a long time.
Yeah, I mean, just the fact that they totally gave us the tone, right? That they laid out, here's the tone of this show. Hopefully, it's not a lie.
Right.
And that tone they gave us in the trailer is what we're going to get in the show. And 12 glorious episodes.
Dude.
Yeah.
And Tony Gilroy, man, he's a very talented storyteller, and he deals with adult material.
And for those of you who may not know, like Tony Gilroy, while he is not the credited director of Rogue One, they brought Tony Gilroy in to come in and fix a lot of Rogue One before. So there's a heavy influence of Tony Gilroy in Rogue One as well, and I love Rogue One. Anyway, Aaron, you had a chance to watch this trailer, Diego Luna's. We got it coming now. What kind of an impact did it make on you? What did you think about it?
Well, this was not on my radar as at all. I mean, obviously, you guys know that I am the preeminent Star Wars fanatic on the planet. No, I am not. So this was not on my radar. I didn't even know. I was like Andor, and I didn't even know what that was. And first of all, I am a freak for fonts, and I love the font choice.
For fonts.
I think that
fonts.
Yeah, look at it. This logo.
is so
That logo's
logo
pretty damn
is
good. I like
beautiful. That based on that logo alone, I know that this is gritty. It's going to be futuristic. I based on the logo alone, I'm going to watch this series. That's how much I love fonts. But more than that, the trailer from the first, I'm also a big fan of choreography. So when the time grappler hits that pose, just that pose right there before banging on that gong, and then the ripple effect that we see happening for the next few seconds, and all of the different, not just the people of the city, the children rising up to see the sky,
Yeah.
the people, as you said, pulling down their shutters, the stark white room of whatever that is, scientists, or I don't even know what they are. You probably do. I don't. I saw that this had an effect on everyone in the area, not just a certain type of person or a certain demographic. And I felt the fear before I even knew what was coming. And so when you talk about tone, I go, that's the way to start a trailer, is you don't have to tell me the whole story, but at least tell me how the story starts. And the story starts with the fear of God being put into these people. And that automatically makes me scared for whatever is about to happen, even if I don't know. I love Diego Luna. I mean, I've been a fan of him since I first saw him in Y Tu Mama Tambien. I thought was a brilliant performance, and a great way for him to start his career of really being out there. Stellan Skarsgård, come on, you can't beat.
That was a surprise.
Yes. Yeah.
The addition of any Skarsgård in any project ever. I mean, if your last name is Skars, I might change my name to Skarsgård just because I feel like my acting will automatically get better for having the last name.
I mean, he's a rebel. He's Harkonnen. He's doing everything right now.
He's just the boss man.
I would like to be Alexander Skarsgård, have all the success, and realize I'm still never going to be as big as my dad. Like, I will still never have as big of a career as my dad.
John, I got 2 words for this too.
What's that?
2 words that get me excited. Mon Mothma.
Yep.
Mon Mothma. Now, I am a Mon Mothma, ever since Return of the Jedi, but they keep bringing her back. They brought back the actress to play the role. I think Mon Mothma is going to, I can't wait to see her take front and center stage.
Well, and by the way, it's more than just Mon Mothma. As a matter of fact, this little write-up about it here tells us a little bit more, because Andor, a prequel series to Rogue One, will premiere on Disney Plus on August 31st with a 2-episode launch. It will have 12 episodes total, but 12 more episodes, making it part 2 to the series. and will begin filming in November. The part 2 will lead up directly to the events of Rogue One. It was announced at the 2022 Star Wars Celebration. The new trailer shows Stellan Skarsgård's rebel leader and Genevieve O'Reilly's Mon Mothma. Andor is set 5 years before the events of Rogue One, and it tracks how and why Cassian Andor joined the rebellion as the Empire aggressively expands in its reach across the galaxy. Forrest Whitaker is also reprising his role and performance as Saw Gerrera, and O'Reilly is returning as Mon Mothma, one of the founders of the Rebel Alliance. So we got Mon Mothma there. Saw Gerrera's going to be... Forrest Whitaker has been very active, actually, in the Star Wars universe, lending his voice to video games and animation and stuff like that as well. So not surprised we're going to see him here also. So I'm really excited. Actually, I wanted to ask Ray. Ray, you saw the trailer. Did you like it? What did it do for you? What do you think?
I like the music.
The music
and I like
was
the
great.
shot of the ships, but I need more. I just need more. Like Rob was saying, I want to see a war. But it's always nice to see Diego Luna. I mean, he was the star of the Terminal. You know, he was really the star of the Terminal. So, right
to the Terminal.
That I will forever know him from that movie. I mean, he was such a.
Have you seen Y Tu Mama Tambien?
Rob
No.
has.
Oh, I saw it in the theater.
I keep forgetting he was one of the kids in that.
Oh my
keep
God.
forgetting
I
that.
saw it in the theater. And speaking of Forrest Whitaker was in the same theater. It was on La Brea. I forget the name of the theater. It's but
The Showcase. It's not there anymore.
No, I feel like it was the Regal. It doesn't matter.
Right by Melrose? Melrose?
Yeah. Yeah. So I was in that theater watching Y Tu Mama Tambien, and somebody's cell phone went off, and I shot a look over, and Forrest Whitaker turns to me, sees me feeling like shooting death, and he was like, sorry. I'm like, you're Forrest Whitaker. It's fucking fine. Like, it's okay. You can do whatever you want in a movie theater. But yeah, so if you haven't seen Diego Luna and Y Tu Mama Tambien, brilliant movie.
Oh,
Not
okay.
for the kids, though.
No,
Not for the kids.
Definitely not for the
Yeah,
kids.
no.
A little bit of filthy in that movie, which is all good. Anyway, guys, question is for you. Did you have a chance to watch this trailer for Andor? I thought it was absolutely, again, I think it's the best Star Wars related trailer we've seen since that second trailer for Rogue One, which I also thought was a mind-blowing trailer. Anyway, guys, what did you guys think? Jump down to the comment section below and leave us your thoughts. All right, guys. With that down, let's move on to our fifth and final main topic today. Aaron, what is our fifth main topic today?
Here we go. This comes to us from Sam. Hi, John and crew. I am sure everyone has seen the first 2 episodes of Obi-Wan Kenobi. One thing I can say is I love the first 2 episodes, and I can't wait to see more. I think it's better than The Mandalorian so far, but that's probably pushing it. I want to know them's fighting words right there. I want to know what you thought about the first 2 episodes. Thanks, and have a great weekend, and have a great Memorial Day.
All right. Well, thanks a lot for that, Sam. And yes, we're going to talk about Obi-Wan here. We are not going to spoil things, any big plot details or anything from it. But we are going to do an open spoiler discussion about Obi-Wan a little bit later today at 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, so whatever time that is for you. Rob and I are going to be doing our open spoiler discussion about it. So if you haven't watched the first 2 episodes, you still got a bunch of hours to go and catch it. Make sure you come back and join us for that as we talk about it in a full open spoiler way. But for now, we're just going to give our general thoughts on it. Again, a little background here. I was not pro them doing an Obi-Wan story. Another going backwards in time story. I like stories that move forward, but I got won over to the idea a couple of years ago, and I've been getting pretty damn excited. The previews have looked good, all that kind of stuff. So I went into it not knowing what to expect, and I got to tell you, I quite enjoyed it. Now, let me say this. This is something that happens in the show, but it's the previously on part. So this is something that happens right at the very beginning. I'm not spoiling anything. This happens right at the very beginning. It's the previously on, where they go previously on Star Wars. And they basically, in about 1 minute, kind of run through the prequels from young Anakin to the final, battle between Anakin and Obi-Wan. It just kind of sets the stage for the show, right? And what struck me was, here's something I've always said about the prequels. They are hot garbage, but I've always said if you took the story of the prequels and you broke it down into like a 5-page outline, like paragraph by paragraph, so this happens and then this happens and then this happens, and you break the story of the prequels down into a 5-page outline, it is brilliant. It's a wonderful story. Just the movies didn't deliver, but the story is wonderful. And as I'm watching that previously on part, I'm just reminded of that. It's like, damn, they had such an epic story to tell. Like really the story of the rise and fall of Anakin Skywalker is epic. It's absolutely epic. Again, just the movie let them down. But that aside, the story is great. And the way they cut together the little previously on that led into it was a beautiful way to set the stage of where we find Obi-Wan when this thing starts and goes. All right, so here's my general thoughts of it. Episode 1, fantastic. Episode 2, good. I'll say episode 1, fantastic. Episode 2, good. I like the second episode. I do. It was a step down from episode 1, but re-meeting Ewan McGregor as Obi-Wan, and I love the fact that they don't just do, hey, it's the same old Obi-Wan that we knew. No. It's been 10 years. And 10 years changes a person. And I act, without going into how it did it, I love where we found Obi-Wan. Not just physically, but emotionally, mentally, spiritually, where we find Obi-Wan and the way Ewan McGregor plays that. While still maintaining every once in a while little Alec McGinnis's in the thing, and I won't give anything away.
McGinnis's, I like that. McGinnisisms.
Just the way he played it was so good. I am over Tatooine and like being in everything Star Wars, but man, they use the environments to really accent where Obi-Wan is. Again, not just physically, but mentally. It just plays a great backdrop for it. The whole beginning of it is all character. Episode 1 is all character. I'll tell you what, the scene that we saw in the trailer of third sister, Reva, the Inquisitor, going face to face with Owen Lars. I loved it in the trailer. Plays even better in the episode. Like I was like, oh God, this is so good. And when the Inquisitors show up, you feel that like, oh shit, here we go. The Inquisitors show up and all that kind of stuff. We move into episode 2. Episode 2 changes tone a little bit, and which it needed to do. There's a few appearances here and there. Again, I wasn't as into episode 2 as I was episode 1. But look, for me in general, it's a good start. We are off to a good start with this. Definitely a stronger start than, like, say, the first 2 episodes of Boba Fett. But I feel good. I ended the first 2 episodes going, all right, I'm ready for episode 3. Let's go. So I liked what I saw, had a really good time with it. Again, episode 1 particularly, just laying that groundwork, setting the scenario. I thought what Deborah Chow did, taking, let's face it, this is an unnecessary show. Well, what did Obi-Wan do between now and then? Look, we know where he came from. We know where he ends up. This is an unnecessary show. But she stepped in there, took it, and she is telling a compelling story to me. So I'm on board. Rob, you had a chance to see it without giving any spoilers or anything away. What stood out to you? What did you think?
I kind of feel the way you felt. I really enjoyed the first episode.
Well, I remember because you finished the first episode while I was still watching it, and you texted me last night going, oh my God, this first episode.
Yeah, I really enjoyed what they were doing with the episode. I really did I thought the relationship the Inquisitors had with one another was interesting. There's a couple of really great, I'm not going to get into what these are, but really great scenes. There were some things that were surprising, location-wise.
Yeah.
I was like, oh. And I was really intrigued by, and I thought Ewan McGregor was great as kind of like this burnt out, the galaxy went to hell and he was partially responsible. It happened on his watch. So the fact that he was haunted by what had happened, I really enjoyed that. So that I really, really liked. So it was great start for me. I was really enjoying it. The second episode, I won't really get into. It was really kind of a mixed bag for me, not because of what happened so much as the way it was presented. There's another character in the story that becomes very prominent that I had a problem with the conception and portrayal of this particular individual that we'll talk about this afternoon that bothered me. And it felt, well, I won't get into it, but I want to see where it's all going to go, because I think that's just part of something. There's a much larger thing playing out here, and we'll see where that goes. But I think of all of the Star Wars shows, the first episode was more satisfying to me. It was probably the most satisfying, even more so than most of the Mandalorian episodes, just because it was Ewan McGregor and it had that star power. But look, it's a beautifully crafted show. A lot of thought has gone into it, but there was talk we heard a while ago that some of the scripts were rewritten because they were too dark. I think that my real overall criticism was, I think the show could have been darker. I think it could have gone further than it did. Now, I understand why, but they really lightened up a certain element of the show, and I'm like, they should have gone a little darker. But we'll see. I mean, I'm intrigued. I thought Ewan McGregor was great. I really enjoyed visiting the world. And like you, I'm tired of Tatooine. And I'm really tired of how the way they're using the volume stage to shoot these things has limited the way these shows can work. But I think Deborah Chow did a really good job of making those volume stages. She was doing a lot more with
They felt bigger than they had before.
That's that. And that's what I felt. It felt it needed, that I wanted to have more scope, and I think it did.
By the way, there's a scene that you hear in the trailer of Obi-Wan's voice going, "The fight is over. We lost." Those are powerful words. The scene in which those words happen, more powerful.
Yeah.
Like when you actually see that line being said in context in the show, it's like,
Yeah.
oh, like you really, really felt it. Anyway, Aaron, you watched the first 2 episodes. Thankfully, it dropped at 9 p.m. for us instead of midnight.
When I got your text message, I was like, oh my God, I'm going to get some sleep tonight. I was not looking forward to being up until 2 in the morning. But I was anyway. Crying baby. I will say this. I have been tired of Tatooine since 1977. So, yes. And I will say this also, when the opening, previously on, thank you so much for this, because as you guys probably already know, I have not seen any of those movies because I barely got through the first Star Wars, and I was like, this is a lot of fucking sand. And so my husband was like, I'm done with you. And he's like, you don't need to watch these other ones. This is what happens, blah, blah, blah. I have never seen Lawrence of Arabia either.
What?
Too much sand. I don't like all that sand.
Too much sand. She doesn't like sand.
Everywhere.
A lot of
It's
sand.
coarse,
It gets everywhere.
it's rough.
It's yeah. So I and everyone, you guys included, have always been like, oh God, these are the worst. You don't need to watch them, blah, blah. So I'm sitting there. I mean, you guys would have had a field day. I think you would have been more entertained watching me watch the previously on than you were in the second episode of this, because I was sitting there like a kid in a candy store and I go, holy shit, Natalie Portman is Luke's mom. And Tom goes, oh my God. And I go, wait, there were 2 babies? And he goes, what is wrong with you? Luke and Leia, catch up. I mean, all of this was new for me. I mean, I was like, oh my God, they killed Hayden Christensen. He goes, he's not dead. And I go, what do you mean he's not dead? He goes, he's Darth Vader, you idiot. He was so angry at me. And it was pretty funny. That being said, for someone such as myself who has not seen all of the movies and doesn't know all of the history, I thought that the previously on was brilliant. I thought it was beautifully done. You said it beautifully. They compacted an entire storyline in a 1 minute previously on that gave me all of the information that I needed to know. I felt very caught up and I felt like, okay, great. I'm ready to watch this now. And I did not feel as many people who are not as familiar with the history might be intimidated. Like, how do I go in and start watching Obi-Wan? So I know that there are some people watching right now that are like, hey, how do I get my friend or my partner or whatever to be interested in this show when they're not big Star Wars fans?
You can.
You can.
Yeah.
I'm here to tell you, I am proof positive. As not being someone familiar with the iconography of Star Wars, I got it and I was in and I loved the first episode. And I'm not doing any spoilers when I talk about casting, when I talk about actors that are in this, I'm not saying who they are playing, but like Kumail Nanjiani, loved him. I think that he infused this, the a level of levity that we've come to know and expect from some of these Lucas series. You know, there's always, as deep as it gets, there's always someone that kind of raises it up a little bit, lets us breathe a bit. I've already said that my love for Vivian Lyra Blair is beyond. I think that she is a standout, and being able to hold her own with Ewan McGregor is beautiful. There were some performances that I'm not going to lie, I was really surprised and disappointed by. I won't go into who that was, but I felt like there was I felt there were moments that were jarring of like, really?
Well, I'll say it. I'll say it. I am not on board with Moses' portrayal of Reva right now. It just, I like the character. I like the idea of the character and what the character is to be and the position the character's in and who the character is. I am not on board with the creative decision that Deborah Chow, and I love the work that Deborah Chow's done on the show, I do, but I'm not really on board with the creative decision that her and Moses have decided upon on how to portray the character.
It felt flat.
It just felt a little one-dimensional.
Like we're gonna make this character be a certain way, and she's not gonna have any levels. And when no matter what the creative choice of a character is, whether it's this person is bad or this person is good, there has to be a duality. There has to be, if you are playing a character who is good, there has to be some sort of inner conflict that forces you to rise above that and still choose the good. If you're playing a character that's supposed to be bad, there has to be some sort of pain underneath it that forces that. And you're right, I feel like there's not a lot of levels. And Benny Safdie's performance, I was really surprised. That was a really great scene, specifically, you know, the one that I'm talking about. And I felt like it was a little rushed. I felt like it was the last scene of the day, and they were like, come on, guys, we're losing light. We got to go. And the nuance that could have been imbued into that scene wasn't there. And Benny Safdie's a really talented actor, so I was a bit surprised by that scene as well.
I'll say this about the Reva stuff. Now, I'm withholding judgment on it a little bit because for all we know, once we get into episodes 4, 5, 3, 4, 5, and 6, we might go, oh my gosh, yeah, that was just really laying a foundation stuff, and that may just set the stage for some great stuff the character does later. But right now, I'm a little bit iffy on that particular performance right now.
But on the other hand, you know who I really enjoyed? Probably comes as no surprise to anyone. Sung Kang.
Yeah, I knew you were going to say Sung Kang.
My man Sung Kang. Right?
Justice. Han got justice.
Han got some justice, man, and I was thoroughly enjoying him.
That's him?
As fifth brother.
Yeah.
Oh, got it.
Man, I was having
Nice.
so much fun watching him, and I really liked what's his name, Richard
Friend?
Rupert
Friend.
Yeah, that was what I was not enjoying, because I'm like, how do you cover up all that gorgeousness with all that?
But he was good.
He was so good.
Yeah,
Like when he walked
He's
in,
so good.
I thought he was really good, and that's another thing. Like you said, I think the Reva performance. Look, those three characters are a lot of fun. They should have been a lot of fun together, and I think that Reva's performance, there needed to be more of a twinkle in her eye. Like she was, like you said,
which may come as the series progresses.
And let's be real. All credit to the actress. Moses Ingram is a brilliantly talented actress. She made her debut in The Queen's Gambit and was nominated for an Emmy. And if you saw The Queen's Gambit, she was lived in the orphanage with the main she's the best friend, and she was brilliant in that. She's an incredibly talented actress, but I agree with you, this comes to maybe there being a discrepancy of between Deborah Chow, who I thought did a beautiful job directing both episodes, and I will also, there's been a word that's been in the chat that I think also is true, no spoiler here, but parkour. And I'm sorry, it just, those moments I was like, oh God.
You know what, I didn't mind it, but there's a moment during the parkour. There's one. We'll talk about it off air.
Yeah.
There's the moment, and it's like that was unnecessary.
Yeah. I think I know what you're talking about.
Yeah,
already.
we'll get that a little bit. I want to throw it over the other table here.
Yeah,
for a second.
please.
I want to let me start with you, Ray. You didn't. First of all, what the fuck? You didn't come over and have. So what's going on?
Yeah. Oh, you didn't cook for John?
I laid out on the couch and I was like, I can't move, man. It was a long
But
day.
you watched the episode.
I will
What do
be
you think?
there next week. I promise to everybody. I'll join again. But I watched it. I didn't mind it. I'm really easy to please. I mean, some of the layers. Some of that stuff was.
It's on IMDb. It's not. That is. I don't think that's a spoiler.
The what? How do you pronounce her name? Reva.
Reva.
She had no personality to me. It just seemed like a robot walking around. That's it. I
wasn't having as much fun as a villain should be having.
I just want this show to just be centered on Ewan McGregor, Obi, right? I don't want it to like. I'm scared that it's gonna veer off into other things where the spotlight is not on him. I really want them to stick with that. That's all I'm asking. But I really did like the first 2 episodes. I mean, I couldn't say I hated him. So
you mean you don't want them to have a show called Boba Fett and then make it about the Mandalorian?
Yeah, exactly. Because like
No one would
like
do
I was
that.
saying in the
I'm
chat,
crazy.
this show to me feels like there's a building up of this Obi-Wan character, which I'm not really familiar with. I hate to say it because, like I said, I didn't finish the original trilogy. I only go off of what I've seen and what I've heard. But it feels like the series is gonna be like a Rocky training montage, where you kind of want to see him progress,
Right.
and then become what he becomes, and then the final fight, right?
Well, I know Jonathan's only had a chance, to watch one of the 2 episodes last night, but you liked the first episode, yes?
Yes, I loved it. I thought the tone was great. I love that they hit the nail on the head there. It's been 10 years. This guy's been living in a cave in the desert. There's comments of his, his cleanliness.
Oh,
he's
yeah,
becoming
that was
hermit.
funny.
He's becoming that old hermit, and he is.
That wizard's just a crazy old
They
man.
feel like they lost. There's no perspective of what's to come, so they do honestly feel like they lost, and I just love it.
Now tell me, timeline-wise, are we going to see any Ewoks?
No, they're not going to be going to Endor in this. I'm pretty sure they won't be going to Endor in this.
Endor smells like outdoor.
I will say Star
Friday
Wars.
restaurant. That's a Friday restaurant.
Star Wars seems to replace all the space battles with parkour now. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Well, again, we're not going to go into the scene. We're not going to go into the scene. But
Parkour's cheaper.
yeah,
well-
parkour is cheaper.
Can somebody wake me up whenever there's a show that has? Can we just get an Ewok show? Just give me the Ewok show.
It's an animated series.
No, I want like a full blown. I want Joey Bishop to be starring.
Ewok
I want her
cooking
to
show?
finally. I want her to be the the lead Ewok. Get me that money.
Anyway, guys, question is for you. What did you think about the first 2 episodes of Obi-Wan if you've had a chance to see them so far? Did you love it? Did you like it? Did you not like it? Where is it for you? Are you excited for episodes 3, 4, 5, and 6? What do you think about it? Whatever your thoughts are, jump down to the comment section below and leave those thoughts there. And quick reminder, guys, don't forget, at 4 p.m. today, we're going to have a full open spoiler discussion about all the things that happened in the episode today at 4 p.m. That's going to be Pacific Standard Time. Make sure you guys come back and join us for that. All right, guys. It's now time for us to move in and start taking your live comments and questions here on the show. But before we get to those, and we are going to open up the super chats right now. So the super chats are now open. If we're only going to keep them open for a few minutes, those guys. So if you have something, thought, opinion, question, theory that you have, it's time to fire those in. Do not write in blatantly spoiler things about the episodes of Obi-Wan. We're going to we'll just skip right over them if you do send those in. So anyway, guys, send those in now. But before we get to those, don't forget, guys, that almost every day here on the John Campea channel, we do a mailbag episode, because if you're somebody who doesn't watch the show live when we're doing it, then how can you get in a comment, thought, or question? Well, that's why we do the mailbag shows. And you can send in a question for mailbag by going down into the description of this video, and you'll see a tip link. You can click on that there, and then we address those questions, if they're appropriate for our show, on mailbag. And so we wanted to share with you a little bit of a clip from Rob's mailbag episode that he did yesterday. Check it out.
Leo Milmet sends in a tip and says, Rob, I just inherited a 4K TV and player. Well, that's exciting. My budget is limited, so I can only afford 5 more 4K movies now. In your expert opinion, what 5 films do I need in 4K? I already ordered Blade Runner 2, great disc, Lawrence of Arabia, an amazing disc, and 1776. Well, 1776's all new extras are mwah. Well, here's the thing, Leo. I mean, I would say this: your favorite movies, those are the ones that you should always get first. But in the case of 4K discs, one of the great things about them is the restorations that they've done on older titles that were finished photochemically. meaning that they weren't shot digitally. So there are titles that I think, for instance, the 4K Apocalypse Now, incredible. Die Hard never looked very good on home video. Jan de Bont's cinematography was very hard to get right because of all the filtering that was used. That's an incredible disc. The original Alien is great in 4K. Gladiator, a movie that's incredible in 4K. The Matrix, they released a box set of all 4 Matrix movies, but if you just want the first one, that is an incredible transfer. Even though it's a new movie, and I'm violating my own rule here, 1917, incredible 4K. The James Bond movie Casino Royale or No Time to Die, great 4K discs. It really depends on what your favorite movies are. And I would say that you can always do a little research. Go check out the Digital Bits website for great comprehensive reviews. And I think it's important when you're buying physical media, you should do a little research to find out, because sometimes they've messed up transfers, and you don't want that to happen. But congratulations on inheriting a 4K set and a player, and I hope you are enjoying them.
All right, guys, and don't forget, we do a mailbag show almost every day. Send on in your questions, and we will get to them forthright. I usually do them. Rob does them sometimes. Every once in a while, you even see us do them together. All right. With that all down now, guys, let's move on and start taking your live questions that you guys have been sending in. It's only going to, by the way, the super chats are going to be open for about another minute. Anyway, Aaron, what do we got in the live chat?
Well, first of all, Back Air Play sent in a 96-cent super. Sorry.
Thank you, Back Air.
Thank you. It's still appreciated very much. Thank you, Back Air. Dave XP says, with Netflix being horrible at advertising their content, I noticed yesterday that Jackass 4.5, it's been out for a week, ready to see some more of that craziness.
They've never advertised anything. By the way, I really did enjoy the latest Jackass. Mm-hmm. And I'm not a big fan of the Jackass franchise. I didn't like any of it till Jackass 3. Loved Jackass 3. I don't know why I did, but I did. I loved it. And I really enjoyed Jackass 4. Ray had a hard time getting through it a little bit. He had to literally get up and walk out of the theater a couple of times. Twice.
What was it for you? Is it the
Anything that had to do with the crotch region?
Yeah, I was going to say, is it the nut slams?
Painful. I don't know how that's fun for anyone.
Yeah, as soon as they start setting it up that somebody's about to get punched in the junk, Ray's like, nope, get out of there and walk out of there.
I don't blame you. I don't even have that kind of junk, and I'm like, I don't need to watch this.
Yeah, but they have not marketed this 4.5 thing very well at all. So
Is this supposed to be a new one?
No, it's like additional stuff that wasn't in the theatrical release.
This is the first time I'm even hearing about it.
And it's on Netflix and not Paramount.
I guess. I mean, I don't know. All right, what's next?
Andy says, when I saw young Leia, I thought of Carrie Fisher and teared up. Also, the child actress who plays her is great, and her burn on her cousin was savage.
Well,
AF.
yeah. Again, we're not going to go into any details about the story, but anyway, yeah, interesting scene. All right, what's next?
Next is from Chef Rigo. We're coming to see you next week. Happy belated birthday, Rob.
Thank you, sir.
Can't wait to see you guys on Wednesday. Your first drink will be on me, Rob, and you will get the birthday ice cream.
Oh, that's right. The infamous birthday ice cream.
No, dude.
You can order your own.
I didn't get any.
Rico,
I didn't get
come
a
on.
cake. I didn't get ice cream. I didn't get
You
anything.
got brownies.
You got COVID.
And you got COVID. That's right. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Well, I had
Keep
All
it
right,
moving.
what's
birthday
next?
disease.
Next to us comes from Fifi, who says, hey, crew, I'm actually super excited for Indiana Jones 5. I'm curious, who's your favorite Indy villains? And who do you think will be the villains of Indy 5? And thanks for that $10 super chat.
I don't know. I mean, I guess the one that stands out to me the most isn't even the main villain of the Indiana Jones film that he's in, which is the Nazi who gets the stop of raw headpiece burned into his head. Tote is his name?
Your fire is dying.
Yes, fire is dying.
You Americans are all the same, always overdressing for the wrong occasion.
I love him. So I'm going to guess maybe him. Do you have a favorite one?
Well, I like him, but I like Belloc.
Yeah, Belloc's
Once again,
great.
we see there is nothing you can possess which I cannot take away.
He's
Is
not
that the
really
first?
evil.
No.
Yeah, he's in the first one as well. He's not really evil. He's just like kind of on the wrong side of things.
Yeah, but he's. I mean, I like the fact that look, no one can rock a linen suit in the middle of the jungle the way Renee Belloc can.
Yep. Oh, he's great.
Who's
All right.
the guy whose face melted off? I just love.
That's all of them. All the Nazis had their face melted off.
Do we actually know who the villain is in this Indy 5?
Nope.
Mads Mikkelsen.
We don't know that he's the villain.
Oh, that's
I don't
true.
think they've ever
Okay.
said he's the villain. He might be. I mean, we're assuming he is, but because he's, what is he, Dutch? No, he's what is he?
Whatever he
Danish.
wants to be.
Danish. That's right, because he's Danish. Got to be the bad guy. The Dutch. There are two things I cannot abide: those intolerant of other people's cultures and the Dutch. One of the greatest lines in cinematic history. All right. That's from one of the Austin Powers movies. Michael Caine says that line. All right, what's next?
Gold member or whatever.
Gold member, that's right.
Okay, next from Monday, May 30th on Netflix. I know what we're excited about. So excited for one last Norm Macdonald special.
Oh, is there a new? Did
he filmed it in secret, apparently.
I had no idea.
Yeah,
So
right before he
Norm.
passed away.
That's going to be awesome, but also very hard, I think, to watch.
You know
I don't
what?
but-
What better way to celebrate the contribution of a performer than to be able to posthumously laugh along with them?
He's a
And
great comedian.
a brilliant comedian. And so, you know what? I think that not knowing Norm Macdonald or having ever met the person, I think that that this would not be released if this were not something that Norm and his family wanted to happen. And so I think that we're all given the green light to go ahead and watch and to laugh and to enjoy and to
right.
be thankful for the contribution.
All right, what's next?
Next, we have from Suthius, who sends in a $10 super chat. I enjoyed the episodes. Thank Odin, there weren't any darn mods or Vespas.
Yeah,
Not
I know.
impressed with the Inquisitors. Their facial reactions are sometimes a little goofy for me, but I love that Jawa.
Me
too.
I wasn't really super impressed with the performance so far. We'll see if that builds to something, but of Reva. But I actually really did like the Inquisitors a lot. And they're caked under a lot of makeup. I mean, the other two are caked under a lot, but still, I really like the Inquisitors, like myself.
I did too.
I thought it worked. All right. What's
And by the
next?
way, John, if you see something, if you read ahead of me and you see something,
I'll
just
cut
stop
it
me.
off,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
All right.
Okay. Ryder says, just hope Reva doesn't take too much away from our limited time with Ewan and Hayden.
Well, listen, the reality is she will, and she should. She should. She is the main antagonist of this series.
That's her job.
Yeah, that's the job. They are going to obviously have Vader, and Vader's going to be like the man behind the curtain, like the main one. He's Vader in this series is going to be Sauron, right? Whereas the more predominant villain of it is going to be Reva. So get used to it, because that is what it's there for. And so we'll see exactly how it kind of plays out. All right, what's next?
We have Andy, who says, I'm glad that Obi-Wan did a recap on the prequels, but even happier that they included the most iconic moment in that recap. I have the high ground.
Listen, we were talking before the show started, and I'm like, that wasn't ballsy that they had that line in there. That was pure defiance. That just putting in the "I have the high ground," that was just defiance, saying, "Yeah, we know this is fucking stupid." Jane, I have the high ground. I mean, they just put it as like, "Yeah, we know this is stupid, but whatever, deal with it." Actually, you know what, Jonathan? I'm going to ask you to read ahead. So, like, if there is a thing, then just skip.
I'm
skip
just
it.
kind of
All right,
scanning
great.
it.
All right, what's next?
Next is from K Major, who sends in a $10 super chat. It is very evident to me that more than anything now, how important a director is to any project, but in particular, these Star Wars shows. Excellent start for Chow, and thank you, Kathleen Kennedy.
Yeah, thank you for putting Deborah Chow on this, because she did some of the best Mandalorian stuff, and obviously she has a deft hand in this. She, like, you can feel her presence in this movie or in this series so far, and I think she's doing a great job.
Is she doing the whole thing?
Yes.
Yeah. I do too, and like we were talking about just earlier, I appreciated more master shots. Give us some scope.
Yep.
Get wide. Show us more of these environments, and I think that was really important to give it a feel that it needed to have.
Absolutely. All right, what's next?
From Sam Fisher, I really enjoyed the first 2 episodes. This might seem weird to say, but I found Reva both threatening but also kind of cringy.
I completely agree with that assessment.
Yep, I do too.
They're like the very nature of the character. If you read a paragraph description of the character, it's like, yes, this is a character that's got a lot going on here. And I did love the scene between her and Owen Lars. I did like that scene a lot. But again, I'm just not thrilled with the choices that I'm going to assume Moses and Deborah together as the director and the actor made for how the performance should come across. But again, I'm saying that having only seen the first third of this show. Yeah. Let's see if that is meant as a foundation to something that they're building up. So we'll see from there. All right, what's next?
From Liv Torn says, hey, crew, my favorite Batman villain is Two-Face. How do you think Matt Reeves will incorporate the character into his Batman, and who should play him?
Who should play him is always an irrelevant question. So it doesn't matter. As long as they get a talented actor, that's all that matters.
Jim Carrey.
What's that?
Jim Carrey.
Jim Carrey, absolutely. Bring in Jim Carrey. Who's the Riddler? Let him be Two-Face now. Listen, Two-Face is, because Matt Reeves's Batman is more grounded and realistic, that takes out some potential thing. Like a comic accurate Clayface is not something they're going to do in that good. But a Two-Face, while not completely realistic, but it can live within our realm of plausibility to a degree, right? So he's definitely one, like, because you look at characters, they already did the Riddler. We've talked about guys like KG Beast could be on the platform. Joker is obviously one you can do. I think Two-Face, while stretching it a bit, is within that realm that he could pursue. What do you think?
No, I think absolutely. They definitely could do that. Again, though, the Two-Face thing, are they going to go as extreme with the actual face itself, or would they keep it more grounded? Because I was surprised at just how grounded Riddler was. Paul Dano was great. I mean, I thought he was really good. And I liked that it was grounded. I mean, Two-Face could be more of a personality issue.
Right. Now, like, the way Christopher Nolan pulled it off, ooh.
Oh, well, like that was
a great way.
Disturbing and believable. And, man, that was just rough.
Yeah.
Ray finds personal disfigurement funny.
No, I'm just saying, I could imagine how, like, just some guy walking around like that and, like, kids just walking by and going like that. I don't know. It's just, okay.
All right. What's next?
Next is from Tyler V602, who sent in a $20 super chat. Thanks, Tyler. Rob, do you think that they would ever put Marvel/Star Wars Disney Plus content on physical media? I do have Daredevil Season 1. As a huge collector, I'm positive John would want to get in on that.
No, we've talked about this before. I unlike, say, HBO that puts out their stuff on physical media, they always have, I don't see... Like, somebody sent me a picture of a Moon Knight steelbook, and I got all excited. It's fake.
Right.
Fake. I was like, it was fake. The reason that, as you know, they put these shows out, they want them to generate subscribers. And if they put this stuff out on physical media, they're not getting those subscribers. So I don't think there's really an incentive. However, Star Wars fans are collectors. So if there's anything that might wind up on physical media, I could see them maybe doing some kind of a box set, perhaps, like a Mandalorian box set or whatever. But I honestly think that these Star Wars shows are going to be, and I could be wrong, but are going to be streaming only.
I'll say what, Star Wars fans being collectors. So my wife and Ray have a sister, and she's married also to a white Canadian Star Wars fan. So that's one thing that
white Canadian.
Yeah, but it can't be a Clone War.
But like a 6'9" white Canadian Star Wars fan. And so Anne went to Star Wars Celebration with Olive and Stan yesterday. And my brother-in-law is a collector. He spent thousands.
What did he buy? I didn't hear about this.
4 original toys. The Kenner toys.
Oh my God.
He dropped like thousands on them. So it's like,
what a
but you know what? I can see this.
Yeah, they're still in their original packaging and everything.
I can see this being a big thing, is that, going to Star Wars Celebration and being able to buy, a limited edition box set of these things long after. I mean, obviously the physical media shouldn't come out as the show is streaming. So I don't think that the argument of it takes away from streaming is really relevant, because the physical media collectors are such a niche market.
And they're getting nichier every day.
Nichier.
And like you said, the quality is way better off of a disc.
It is. I mean, streaming is getting better, but where it really suffers is sound. Picture, of course, but the sound, especially if you have Dolby Atmos, I mean, it's just too compressed.
I'm still with you, Rob, on physical media, baby.
Come on, buddy.
Living yesterday. That's all good.
Yeah, if you saw what I saw when Rob opened the back of his trunk and literally had Blu-rays spilling out onto the parking lot. And in that one image that I looked, there were 3 different versions of one movie. 3 different versions.
There's actually 4 that I noticed. You could. Yes, I was moving.
I hope you used your little COVID quarantine time to organize all of your stuff.
All right, we need to keep moving. All right, what's next?
Comes from Nash Preds 99, who says, started watching Stranger Things after Obi-Wan. I can't believe how long these episodes are, from 1 hour and 15 minutes to 1 hour and 40-minute long episodes.
Yeah, I have not started watching watching it yet, but awesome. I hope Disney Plus is taking notes. This is the way you should be doing these. See, look, they know that Stranger Things is event television. There's not a lot of TV that is event TV. A new season of Stranger Things is event TV, and they treat it like it. And I hope Disney Plus is paying attention.
I did feel good about the first episode of Kenobi was like over 50 minutes.
Yeah.
And then, of course, episode 2 is like 41.
Yeah, it could have been shorter. But again, it's like, come on, guys. This, we've been building this for years. It's not a movie. So if you're going to do it as a TV show, do it as a damn TV show. All right. Anyway, sidetracked. Sorry about that. All right, what's next?
This comes to us from Reese Jones. Obi-Wan, more like OMG Kenobi.
Again, listen, I will go more into detail on the open spoiler discussion later today, but that first episode, there might be one episode of Mandalorian that I might put above it. But honestly, that first episode was so good that other than maybe one episode of Mandalorian, I think it's the best episode of any of the Star Wars series stuff they've done so far. It was, I thought, really that good. So we'll see how it picks up from there. It was
good.
All right, what's next?
Next is from Roberto, who says, my coworkers have been having a week-long debate on if ranch or barbecue is the superior sauce. Which do you guys prefer?
I will tell you this, and here's why. Ranch.
Agreed.
The reason I prefer ranch is because, honestly, ranch is ranch. It really is. Like ranch is ranch. But barbecue sauce in one place, you can eat barbecue sauce in one place, cross the street to another place that says barbecue sauce, and it'll taste completely different.
Okay, yeah, you're right.
And so, when I am getting a good ranch, I like dipping my wings in ranch. I know what I'm getting. Mm-hmm. It's not
Well, barbecue sauce in Texas and barbecue sauce in Memphis, for example, completely different.
Totally different
Tennessee and Kentucky have completely different barbecue sauces.
Okay.
But that's what makes it exciting.
No.
Okay, you're both wrong. And let me just explain. Jonathan gets it. Ranch is ranch. Ranch is, you know what it is. Barbecue sauce is one of the great joys in life. Everybody has their different special sauce recipe.
You're right.
And you know what?
It's not great if you only like 10% of it.
I will drink barbecue sauce raw if it's good. Okay. There used to be a restaurant called Lola's, and I walked in one day. I used to go there all the time. One day I walk in there, and they had a barbecue sauce Bloody Mary.
I'm not going to be a part of this argument, but I will say
barbecue sauce is one of the great joys of life.
Ray,
okay. Potato chips and ranch and fish sticks and barbecue sauce are the weirdest things that I like dipping stuff them in.
Fish sticks in barbecue sauce?
Good.
I'll put barbecue sauce on anything.
All right,
Buffalo
we got to keep going. What's next?
From Joe Adonis, who sends in his $10 super chat. Hi, John and Filthies. We're the Filthies.
Well, I love it.
Am I the only one who thought that toy in Obi-Wan Kenobi was a nod to battery?
And we need to move on. Sorry,
From
guys.
Ahmed.
By the way, I thought the same thing. I'm just going to say it.
Yeah.
From Ahmed, who says, hi, crew. I saw Top Gun Maverick, and it was so good. True. I thoroughly enjoyed it and had goosebumps several times. Bring on the Filthies.
Yeah, I'm going to go see it again tonight. We were going to go see it again tomorrow, but we can't tomorrow now. But going to go see it tonight. You've heard us wax poetic about this now for weeks. This movie is so much fun. Mm-hmm. It's thrilling. It's exciting. Far superior to the original in every single way, yes. Other than maybe the romantic interest. But that's just me.
The romantic interest was great.
The Kelly McGillis one was better, but.
Meh.
It's such a good movie. It's so good. Get out and see it as soon as you can. All right, I'm glad you liked it, man.
Also, Bob's Burgers is out this weekend, so if you saw Top Gun, go watch Bob's Burgers.
Once you see Top Gun, go see Bob's Burgers. All right, and the reviews on Bob's Burgers are really good right now.
It looks really good. I think I might try to find a Mommy and Me screening and take little Tommy.
All right, what's next?
Next comes to us from Sam Fisher, who says, I just want to say happy birthday to Christopher Lee on what would have been his 100th birthday.
Really? Would this have been his 100th birthday?
Yeah.
Like, when you look at that guy's career,
Oh.
like, there's not many that, like, once, 50 years from now, they look back on the greatest careers ever. Like, his is going to be in that top 20
So
area.
good.
Like, in every era, he just managed to not only have a career, but be actively relevant decade after decade after decade after decade.
And how many actors actually killed people in World War II? He did.
I'm sure he did.
Working for British intelligence.
All right, what's next?
Next comes to us from Andy. I love this version of Obi-Wan that's never been seen before. He's much like Johnny Lawrence from Cobra Kai. They're both broken and haunted by the past.
Okay.
Yeah, again, I love the way they didn't just go, okay, so here's Obi-Wan, picking him right up where he left off. Dude's been living for 10 years in the desert, and that's going to have an effect on you. And I really love the approach they had with that. All right, what's next?
From Boston McCullough, who sends in a $20 super
Thank you,
chat.
Boston.
Thank you so much. Greetings from San Diego, Comic-Con country. I saw Top Gun Tuesday night, and it is now in my top 10 movies of all time. I have never seen a theater experience like this since Endgame. Everyone clapped when San Diego came on screen, of course.
Yeah.
Fantastic. How much fun would that have been to see Top Gun Maverick in San Diego?
Did they not do the big premiere? They're on the aircraft carrier.
Yeah.
That was right in San Diego as well, right?
Yep.
I'll tell you, Ann and I love going to San Diego. Like, we will at least 2 times a year. We'll just, on a whim, just go, let's just book a hotel right down there in the gas lamp, right around where Comic-Con is held. And we just go down there and spend the weekend in San Diego. We walk along in the harbor there. We look at the naval ships. We eat at all the great restaurants there. I love going there. But the footage from that premiere is so good.
Do you
It was
guys
great.
drive or do you take the train?
We drive.
The train's
Because
great, though.
for Comic-Con train, but during non-Comic-Con times, it's such a fast drive for us. Like, for where we live, we can get there in like an hour and 10 minutes.
So we were going down to San Diego for just like a little weekend getaway, and we get to the train station. I was like, I don't know why it's not letting me buy my tickets online. We get to the train station, and I go up to the thing, and we're there like right before the train is going to leave. I mean, we are cutting it close. And I run up to the thing, and I go, Tom, you get our stuff together. I'm going to go get our tickets. And I go, I'm trying to get my tickets, and it's me and 2 adults and a dog. And she goes, oh, you can't bring a dog to San Diego. And I was like, I'm sorry, what? And she goes, none of our trains allow dogs. And I walk out to Tom, who's got all of her luggage, and I go, get back in the car, we're driving. So apparently the trains do not allow dogs. And I don't go anywhere without my Joey Bishop.
And San Diego is like, correct me if I'm wrong, Elijah, I believe San Diego is the highest per capita dog ownership in the country.
Yeah.
Like, everywhere in San Diego, it's dogs. Every restaurant will have like little dog feeding stations on the outside. And
That's
stuff.
why they won't let you bring in your dogs. They're like, we got enough dogs.
There's
It's
too
like
many
bringing
dogs.
sand to the beach. Don't bring your dog here. What's
All right,
next?
What's next?
We have from Super Crazy Movie Geek says, will we ever again see Han and Kira in live action?
No, probably not. That's done and put away. All right, what's next?
From Isaac says, Johnny Depp question, favorite Johnny Depp movie? Edward Scissorhands.
This is going to sound like a cop-out, but honestly, the first Pirates of the Caribbean. I think that's his best movie. But anyway, what do you think?
Well, I'm going to say, people are going to laugh. The Ninth Gate.
I didn't even like it.
I love the Ninth Gate. As a matter of fact, a guy named Swag Props Cal, he makes replicas, beautiful prop replicas of the book from the Ninth Gate. The Nine Gates of the Kingdom of Heaven, and he made me one.
All right, what's next?
Good. This comes to us from James Wheeler, who sends in a $20 super
Thank you,
chat.
James.
Thank you, James. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. I know someone compared Cavill and Hemsworth. How about Skarsgård from The Northman and Hemsworth?
Hemsworth. He's just got more bulk, but I am telling you, oh my God. When Skarsgård comes on the screen in The Northman in like full berserker mode, and it's like, what the hell has this guy been eating? because like he was more ripped than Hemsworth. But I don't know, Hemsworth in this new Thor trailer too. So I'll go Hemsworth on it, but Skarsgård is a remarkable physical specimen in this movie. Absolutely.
Chicken and water.
What's
Just
that?
chicken and water.
Like chicken and water all day. Did you ever get around watching Northman?
Yeah.
I can't remember. What do you think about it?
It was different than I thought it was going to be. It
was very different than I thought it
I'm
would
a
be, yeah.
huge Robert Eggers fan. I really enjoyed it, but it was different. And I want to get the 4K disc and watch it again.
Of course you do. All right, what's next?
Next to us comes from Sam Fisher. I love that the previously on essentially boils the prequels down to this is the story of two brothers, which feels very Shakespearean.
Again, when you break the prequels, which are hot garbage, down to the essential story points, it is a great story. It is a wonderful story.
That's what I've always said, John, that I think that the prequels are bad movies, but good Star Wars.
Yeah, if you break it down to its essential story points, and that I have never seen. Honestly, the prequels don't need to exist. All they needed was a 5-minute summary thing, because I have never seen the prequels so perfectly summed up in the essential elements like that little previously on thing before episode 1. That was beautifully put together, aside from the one defiant, I have the high ground, which definitely did not need to be in there. But other than that, seriously, it's a perfect summation of everything that was good. 1 minute, sum it up to everything that was good about the prequels. But no, seriously, it was beautifully done. All right, what's next?
From Mike Joyce, I don't know about you, but I'm looking forward to the Breaking Ben fanfic about Obi-Wan, where he decides to stay and work in that drug lab.
What is it?
I don't.
Is it like concentrated blue milk? What do you
I'm
do?
not
He's
quite.
just making a joke.
Yeah.
The Breaking Bad. Yeah, there's just something there. All right, what's next?
From Mason Hawking says, Obi-Wan proved the recap would be great for MCU.
Yeah, so we talked about this before about how it would be interesting if, they take that standard television trope previously on and actually did that. Again, it should be Michael Peña's Luis doing it for every MCU movie, but do a previously in the MCU and a little thing, because I'll tell you what, that probably would have helped a lot of people watching Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. Probably would have helped a lot of people out, but it might be something they should consider doing.
You know what? A lot of times, I always watch the previously on. Unless I am just binging and going straight into the next episode. If it's a weekly episode show, I will always watch the previously on, because then it sets my mind to go, oh, these are the important moments from the last episode that are going to be carried over into the next episode. These are the little reminders of, oh, this is going to directly string together.
Yeah.
It's not just saying this is what actually happened. It's saying, hey, these are the moments that happen that are relevant to what you're about to watch. And that's why I think it's really important to have those before everything. I would love to have those before the Marvel shows.
All right, what's next?
We have from Jerome says, does Jonathan like that Madonna song Frozen?
Yeah, because my camera is always freezing.
I get it.
My camera does not freeze anymore.
All right, not anymore
song,
though. All right, what's
video.
next? What's next?
From James Welsh, Aaron watched the Ewok movies. Well, Rob was just telling me about them, and
The
I
Ewok adventure.
don't feel like I need to.
You know what? The first one isn't bad. Then the second one completely undoes everything.
The Battle for Endor.
Yeah. All right, what's next?
From Crashing Coyote says, do you think that the majority of people will prefer the first 3 of Obi-Wan or the first 3 of The Boys? And could Kat show up? Fallen Order sequel is being revealed later.
We haven't seen the first 3 episodes. Like, do you mean the first 3 episodes of The Boys season 1? Or are you talking about the first 3 episodes of the new season? We haven't seen it. So I haven't seen the 3rd episode of Obi-Wan yet. So really can't answer that question yet.
I can't. That's such apples and oranges.
Yeah.
I don't even watch The Boys in the same way I watch Obi-Wan.
Yeah, they're two totally different. But again, we haven't seen them, so we can't have a guess.
Yeah,
on the couch.
Barbecue sauce and
Yeah,
ranch.
same way. All right, what's next?
From James Shimo, looking forward to Skeleton Crew. Same. Hoping for a Lost in Space / Lord of the Flies kind of vibe. Oh.
I don't think there's going to be Lost in Space is a probably good one. I don't think they're going to go a Lord of the Flies kind of vibe. You can, go watch what's in it? Yellow Jackets.
The Yellow Jacket. Yeah,
watch
Yellow
Jackets.
Jackets.
I don't think that's what this is going to be. But again, when you look at the creatives behind it and having Jude Law in it and the director of this, I I think this is set up to be something really good. So fingers crossed. All right, what's next?
From Seconds from Disaster, we have a two-parter. I don't know if Thor 4 will actually mention Null, but knowing that the sword was forged out of the living darkness, do you think that that could be the reason?
It's just right up here. I found it.
That could be the reason Gore's scenes are in black and white, because its corruption is draining the light from reality. Null hated the Celestials for creating galaxies.
I don't know. See, look, first of all, you're making a couple of assumptions that has never been established. We don't know definitively yet where the sword comes from.
Right.
Because remember, well, John, in the comics, well, the comics are the comics, the movies are the movies. We don't know what they're doing in the movies here. Although I was very surprised to see when Gore walks in that one room and pulls his hood down, there's almost a symbiote-looking black matter oozy thing. So I don't know what they're going to do with that. But again, there's just too many assumptions we have to make at this point. There's so little we tangibly know about what they're doing with this and how they're going to approach Gore, particularly the sword. Because remember, in the comics, that's the Necro Sword. In the movies, Hela had the Necro Sword. So, I mean, how are they going to play? I just don't know. Rob, do you got any theories?
I don't, and I'm curious about that, because the thing is, if you introduce Null, and that's a whole different idea. Although I could see, look, if there's no big pre-title sequence in Olympus, I could see them introducing this character that we'll see Gore, and something will happen with him. The opening will be about him and maybe getting the sword or what he's doing. But I really don't know. I don't have a sense of it yet.
All right, what's next?
From Sam Fisher, who sends it a $10 super chat, along with all those other super chats. It's worth mentioning, Sam. Thank you so much. I love that the Star Wars fandom has seemed to re-embrace Hayden Christensen, because the acting and Attack and Revenge were not his fault, unless I'm reading the crowd at Star Wars Celebration completely wrong.
See, here's the thing. I've always said this going back into it. You got to understand about any of the performances, whether it's Jake Lloyd, Ahmed Best, Hayden Christensen, Ewan McGregor in those Star Wars prequels. Look, everybody knows I have a shrine to George Lucas in my house. For the rest of my life, I'll always have some kind of shrine to George Lucas in my house. Absolutely worship George Lucas, blah, blah. But by the time you got to the prequels, George Lucas is not good at working with actors. And he has no care about actors. There's this legendary story that Ron Howard tells when he was working with him on, what's the name of the car movie again? American Graffiti. When George Lucas found out that Ron Howard was thinking about getting into directing. And George Lucas says to him, get into animation. Go, if you're going to do directing, do animation. Go animation. And Ron was like, why? He goes, you don't have to work with actors. And Rauer's like, you do realize, George, you're talking to one of your actors, because you don't have to work with actors. You don't have to work. And when you watch even like all the stuff on the discs of the prequels, like George is so non-caring about whatever performance they're getting. Well, whatever, just get them to say the line. We'll do whatever we're going to do in the post later. Like, and you can really feel that. So number one, you had these actors who were really at the foreground of acting in front of blue screens, acting with characters that weren't there. So this was kind of a new thing at the time. Now it's old hat. It was a new thing at the time with a director who really didn't care much about performance and didn't really care much about working with actors. You really can't blame any poor performances in the prequels on those actors. No. And Hayden Christensen being a good Canadian kid, you just watch him and see My Life as a House. Like, the dude can't act.
Yep.
So I'm really glad to see him getting warmly received, because any performances were not his fault.
And similarly, there are a lot of really poor actors who can, with a little bit of, good direction and some snip in the editing room, look like they, put out a good performance, and sometimes they just didn't. One of my favorite things is a friend of mine, I did a very small thing on The Bold and the Beautiful many, many years ago, and a girlfriend of mine watched it, and she just started laughing, and she goes, I am so happy that I've seen other work by you, because if this was the only thing I've ever seen you done, I would be convinced that you are the worst actor on the planet.
Wow, what a friend you have there.
Hey, man, my friends are honest, and I appreciate that. I don't need anybody blowing smoke up my tutor.
All right, what's next?
Whose line is this anyway?
Slapdragon Watson Addison says, cat plus rotisserie equals chef's kiss? No.
Well said.
No, my house is spider free because I have 4 cats.
That is our aviation shot of the day right there. It comes from in there. All right, what's next?
I don't think this counts as a spoiler, so.
From Suthia says, the non-spoiler, Obi-Wan, the Jedi is no more. Also Obi-Wan. Damn it, Owen, I must train him.
Yeah, that's of course in the trailer there. Again, and what a great scene. We are teased with that scene in the trailer. We see that Obi-Wan and Owen, but when you get to see that whole, it plays so great. I love both their performances in it. Just a terrific scene. All right, what's next?
From Aaron Stanwood. Hi, John and crew, who sends in a $10 super chat. Thank you, Aaron. Still recovering from spine surgery. Oh, wow. Best wishes to you. But next week, I get to go back to enjoying your show at work.
Nice.
Thanks for the entertaining distractions over the last few months, and bring on the filthy.
Well, good to hear that. Actually, you know what? One of our business partners, who's like our sponsorship rep, he just had my buddy Scott. He just had back surgery too. Like, not fun. He's back up and functioning again. Actually, he recovered really quick. But anyway, best of luck to you, man. The back is no joke, dude.
No.
I was telling a story this one time. I was like,
back and knees.
yeah,
You don't want to
I
mess
was
with
like
those.
18, 19, or 20, I can't remember. And I got out of my car and I forgot something in the car, so I opened the passenger side door, just reached in to grab something off the driver's seat, and tweak something in my back. I wasn't able to walk for days. I mean, the back is no joke. Take care of yourself. Take your time. Don't rush anything. And we hope you're back up to full speed soon, man. All right, what's next?
From King Tonic, who sends in a $10 super chat. Rob, I Star Trek, the motion picture. In theaters this week, and I actually liked it. First Star Trek experience for me.
Well, King Tannic, you'll never forget your first Star Trek experience. And for those of you who don't know, the restoration of Star Trek the Motion Picture in 4K was in theaters for 3 days only. It's on Paramount Plus now, but it looks fantastic and even sounds better on the big screen. My nephew, my 15-year-old nephew, went and saw it. I haven't spoken to him yet, but I can't wait to speak with him. So congratulations to you.
All right.
Good man.
Now, just so you guys know, we are running short on time here, so we're going to pick up the pace here and keep going a little bit faster. All right, what's next?
From Aviation Gin and Tonic says, Bob's Burgers gets a thumbs up for me. I liked it. Top Gun 2, 2 thumbs up, way up.
There you go, Ray.
Yes.
You're getting some affirmation. Do you have any plans to go see it? Are you going to go to the theaters?
I might. Well, I want to see Top Gun, but I wanted to see it in the 4DX. So if I could get a single seat somewhere there. But Bob's Burgers, I think I'm going to catch it maybe early, like maybe on Sunday, early, like the earliest showing, probably.
All right, what's next?
From Fredo Valcas says, hey, cool people. Guys, I've never watched Star Wars, but I watched Obi-Wan, and I got to say, I liked it. Where should I start with the movies?
The originals. I mean, you can just forego. I mean, you saw the previously on. That's all you need from the prequels. Just go back, watch the original 3, and now you're good to go on. You're good to go. Greatest trilogy of all time.
It's really all just about Trade Federation. So as long as you bulk up on Trade Federation, you got it all.
Do all your deep research.
You
on
mean you
trade
shouldn't start with
disputes
Star
and
Trek:
taxations.
The Phantom Menace?
Yeah, absolutely not.
Star Trek: The Phantom Menace. You heard it here first. It's from Stubble McShave. Says, nice to see Joanne Whaley back for Willow. She was a big movie crush for me in 1988. Her being a redhead, I guess she made Rob hot and sweaty as well.
I don't even know who that is.
She was Mad Marg. She was the woman in Willow.
Oh, she was the original. Okay.
Yeah.
When they say she was back, I'm like, oh, from which? Okay.
Yeah, she is a hunk of burning love. My God, she was married to Val Kilmer.
And that was the movie that they fell in love in.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yeah, she is smoking.
All right, what's next?
From Cincinnati's 5-star barber says, my buddy Rob, welcome back. Welcome back, Kotler theme. Welcome back. Welcome back.
Nobody
So
knows
excited
that.
for Kenobi and Stranger Things when I get home tonight.
Yeah, there's like I said, I am looking forward to watching Stranger Things. Obviously, Obi-Wan Kenobi was my priority, but I'm looking forward to start watching season 3, Stranger Things season 4.
And we'll be able to watch it for hours.
Yeah, hours and hours. I love it. Disney Plus, please take notes. What's next?
From Addison says, since I doubt that we would ever get a movie club on American Psycho, what do you guys think of the movie? I find it funny how he went from that to Batman.
Well, I still remember when they first announced that this Christopher Nolan guy was directing it, and then they had picked Christian Bale. I remember going, the dude from American Psycho, you know what? Yeah, I mean, look, there are some really iconic moments in American Psycho. It is not, again, it's not a top 50 all-time movie for me, but it's really good and several fantastic moments of the Huey Lewis stuff, and it's so great. But again, it was really our introduction, even though Christian Bale had already been around. Newsies, right? He was in Newsies. He'd been around for a while.
Empire of the Sun.
He had been around for a while. That was really a lot of people's introduction to it. What do you think about American Psycho?
I love him. I'm a huge Bret Easton Ellis fan, so I read the book when it came out, loved all the controversy. I really liked the movie. And I have, thanks to Dieter Bastian, a beautiful
Hi, Dieter.
German 4K box set. It even comes with reproductions of the business cards.
Wow.
nice.
No.
Yes. You
That's
see
one of the
that?
best scenes ever.
That's bone.
All right, what's next?
That's bone. Sam Fisher sends in another super chat. The Skeleton Crew show as Coming from John Watt starring Jude Law sounded interesting until I heard it was 4 10-year-olds lost in space.
Listen, man, The
Disagree.
Goonies is one of the most celebrated films of all time. Stand By Me is like about a bunch of kids. Listen, you tell these stories, you capture it from a perspective that can be filled with awe and wonder. If you're going to discount it just because some of the main characters are young characters, you're going to miss out on a
Goonies,
lot of great,
Annie, come on.
a lot of great cinema.
Stranger
So
Things.
listen,
Stranger Things.
Stranger Things we were just talking about. So you're going to miss out on a lot of really good stuff if that's your default. All right, what's next?
Also from Sam Fisher, can I just say the title on yesterday's
Mailbag
was
Laugh Out Loud, I
Okay,
guess.
so I'd picked it. The title was, somebody wrote in and said, are we going to see 2 particular characters in the show? When we did the mailbag,
Yeah, you hadn't seen it yet.
I hadn't seen it yet. And so, because the mailbag, I guess, went up later, or it was for members only.
It
at
went
first.
up to our channel members
Yeah.
first. They got advanced.
So
yeah.
when it was finally made public, the question had been answered by the show itself.
Right.
But at the time, because I honestly didn't know, I'm like, well, this is a good question.
Yeah.
And I spent some time answering it. So I'll take full responsibility for that title. You can give me all that guff you want.
But it was a question. The title was a question, and you did not know
Can
the
we
answer
say
to it.
what the
No,
Okay,
we won't
okay,
do
got
that.
it.
All right, we got to keep moving
Got
on
it.
here. What's next?
Out of Time, 1985 sends in a $10 super chat. Thank you. So 7 out of the 12 Star Wars movies had Tatooine in it, and all the live action shows have had it in it. 2 out of 3 animated shows have had it in it. I am tired of seeing this planet. Since 1977, I'm sick of Tatooine. Let's go.
This. How did Luke describe it? If there's a bright side of the
Bright
universe,
center of the universe, you're on the planet
farthest-
that it's furthest from.
Yeah. So actually, it seems to be the absolute center of everything.
Unless you're a pod racer, it's like, let's go to Mos Espa.
I mean,
and
it's
be
like-
in the Boonta Eve pod race.
Now I get
That's
it.
the
Like
wizard.
with Obi-Wan, totally makes sense why we got to be there. Absolutely makes sense why we got to be there. But it's the first time in a long time that it absolutely makes sense that we're there. All right, what's next?
From James Daniel, 87 says, hey guys, first time tipper. Well, thank you so
James.
much.
Good to have you here.
What's your thoughts on the time change for Kenobi? I live in Eastern time and 2 a.m. is way too late for me.
Well, I mean, look, they clearly don't put it. They put it up to have a slow, gradual people, because Disney Plus has had issues with a show dropping and the server crashing because everybody's there at once. So yes, Eastern time, it will normally go up at 3 a.m. So that really means you are meant to watch it the next day. For us in Los Angeles, that's just doable because for us here, it's midnight. So it's just doable. We do that. But yeah, I think it's by design that they do that so it doesn't flood the server all at once and crash them out. So
Yeah.
it is what it is.
Do you think it had something to do with the episodes being shown at Star Wars Celebration? They're being so...
Why they moved it to 9 p.m.?
Yeah, there was already so much online hype that they figured, you know what, let's just release it so people can see it sooner.
I think there were 2 things about that. Why did they move it to a special time of 9 p.m. Los Angeles time, midnight Eastern time? I think there are 2 main factors. Factor number 1, they were showing it at 7 p.m. Los Angeles time at Star Wars Celebration. And they probably thought the moment this is over, these thousands of people watching are going to flood online with all the details.
Exactly.
So we might as well have it ready to go when that happens. I think the second one is let's kick the shit out of Stranger Things and Netflix.
Yeah.
Let's
And they
get
did.
one step ahead and kick the living shit out of Stranger Things. And that's what they did. All right, what's next?
From Dave Wilson says, I can't help but wonder who takes over if Kevin Feige quits or passes away. No, he will never pass away. That's just not allowed to happen.
But he will quit. And the answer is, hopefully, somebody we've never heard of. Just like we'd never heard of Kevin Feige, it will be somebody who is just brilliant at running an organization. I mean, look, at the end of the day, what you really need in your boss is somebody who is great at running an organization. who knows how to make things flow. What's that?
I know who it is.
Uh-oh.
Ann Campea.
Yeah.
And no, look, don't laugh. Ann Campea
She could do it. I know
would
she
be
can.
a great president of Marvel. She really would, actually.
I feel like
If she can run Amazon and Apple, she can run Lucasfilm.
I feel like like
Marvel.
Kevin Feige has a piece of coal in the corner of his office that he's just squeezing every day. And one day a diamond's going to pop out of it and he's going to be like, hello, your new president of MCU.
Well, who's his co-president? Right?
Louis Esposito and then Victoria Alonso.
Yeah, so it'll probably end up being one of those two. I wouldn't doubt it if it would be Victoria Alonso, but it'll probably be one of those two, probably. But the problem is, movie fans, we only think in terms of movies. And so we think this director should be no. Shouldn't be director and running a corporation like this, a big operation. That's totally different things.
Which is why the Actors Union, SAG-AFTRA, is such a monumental shit show because it's all run by ding dong actors who don't know how to run a company.
Anyway, all right, what's next?
From Sam Fisher again. I love John Williams' new theme.
I'll be honest with you, I didn't even really notice it. I was so focused just in on the visuals of what was going on. I didn't pay attention. I need to pay attention.
You got to listen. Harloff. It made a video of it when John Williams was playing it at Celebration. I thought they would release that piece of music. It's great, but apparently he's the only person who did it.
I'll keep my eyes open for that.
That's
all right,
how I heard
next.
From Juan Lopez says, I agree with Aaron, LOL. That is an LOL. I don't want to be a Boba Fett series starring Mando and Luke Skywalker, haha.
Yeah, I mean, again, to be fair, Mando only was featured prominently in 2 of the episodes. To be fair,
but 2 of the 6, that's a third of the episodes.
That's a third of the show, and they made him look better than Boba Fett. Listen, the Boba Fett series had its upsides. It really did.
I enjoyed it.
There were a couple episodes I really liked, but yeah, it is what it is. All right, what's next?
From Ron Howard says,
Howard.
I mean, just saying. Ron H says, for the notorious ROB, that's you, Rob, I stumbled onto the trailer for South Korean horror film The Sadness. It's inspired by horror comic Crossed, disturbing to say the least. Might be something up your alley.
Oh, I have not seen The Sadness yet. I'm dying to see it. I already put the feelers out to get the 4K disc. Dieter's going to get it from me from Germany because it's not out in 4K here. I can't wait to see this movie. I believe it's on Shudder. Everyone who's talked to me about The Sadness says it's incredible.
All right, what's next?
From Soul Carlos says, I know it's called Star Wars, but I would like more love stories. I know it's called Star Wars, but I would love more love stories. I know they had some, but they were all so simple. I think it would be an interesting twist.
Listen, again, when you have something like Star Wars is now just the title of the IP, right? So it just is what it is. Not everything has to be wars, but although I would like to get some of that too. This is a vast, vast, vast universe. They need to approach it kind of like the way Marvel's been approaching Marvel, where it's like, yeah, it's a comic book film, but some are going to be political intrigue, some are going to be comedy, some are going to be heist movies, some are going to be horror movies, some are going to be this. Star Wars needs to start embracing that as well, and that's just one way they can do it. All right, what's next?
We have from Joe Fouchot. Do you think Henry Cavill will join the MCU? He seems like such a perfect casting for so many characters. Any thoughts? And thanks so much, Joe, for that $20 super chat.
No, here's the thing. Again, he seems like perfect casting for the way you have the character in your head. Right now, Henry Cavill is not perfect casting for anything. Because again, I keep bringing it back to the Joker, right? You can say, who'd be great for the Joker? Well, it depends on the script. Because Heath Ledger was a great one kind of Joker. Joaquin Phoenix was a great another kind of. But guess what? Heath Ledger would not have been good as Jack's Joker. That would not have been a good fit. Well, they're both Joker. I know, but it's all about how they're written. Mm-hmm. Henry Cavill, that's why I always say when people say, who should play this role? It's like, I haven't read the script.
Right.
So unless you read the script and know exactly how they're going to approach that character, you just don't know. That's why I always say, all I care about is when they announce the performer playing the role, is it somebody who's a gifted and talented performer? Mm-hmm. As long as they do, that's all I can ask for. Because when somebody says, you know who'd be great for Reed Richards? So-and-so. I say, no, they're great for the Reed Richards you have in your head. Mm. But there's a 90% chance the Reed Richards we get on screen is going to be a little bit different than the one you have in your head.
Yeah.
And who knows who'd be a good actor for
A lot of times, I'll also hear someone say, oh, that person would be great as this character because they have the same hair color.
Oh, I get it. I remember when they were announcing Man of Steel, or it might have been, it was Man of Steel. And I remember a lot of people thought Billy, I'm not joking here, and people will deny it today. This was absolutely fact. Billy Zane should play Lex Luthor. Why?
Oh, yeah, because he was bald.
Because he had just recently done a role where he was bald. And they're like, Billy, look,
Yeah.
Billy Zane should be Lex Luthor. It's like, oh my God, because he's bald. Okay, sure. Don't get me wrong, I love Billy Zane. Listen to your friend Billy Zane. He's a cool guy. Bonus points to any of you guys who get that reference. All right.
Hold on. Did you guys catch the super chat in the chat from member Nick Soto?
Yeah, I saw that.
Okay.
What'd he say?
He said, guys, maybe it was the edible last night, but I think those first 2 episodes of Obi-Wan might be the best thing Disney has ever done.
Listen, I thought it was, the edible might have had a little something to do with that, but they were really, listen, I think Obi-Wan's off to a really good start. I didn't think the second episode was the first, but I think it's off to a really good start. I can't wait to see what they do with episode 3.
There should be another section in Rotten Tomatoes where it's like watching the movie with edibles.
With edibles. How does it come across? All right, what's next?
From Jamie Sunday says, this series is just lazy filmmaking. Treating this show like a generic sci-fi mediocre series is just an abomination to the stars, to the name Star Wars. I hated it.
Hey, listen, it's all subjective, man. If that's how it hit you, that's fair. That's the experience you had with it. And I can't contradict you on that. However, my experience was very different. This was creative. This is unlike anything we've seen Star Wars do before. I thought, especially in episode 1, the character work on it. I don't know, man. If you thought that was lazy filmmaking, I'd like to see some of the things you think are your favorites because.
And I thought that it was also very relevant. There's a moment, no spoilers, where a young girl says something to Obi-Wan that when she says it, I just went, oh my God. And it's not the Vivian actress, but it's another one short little scene. And she says something about the environment that they're in. And what she says is so heartbreaking. And you just go, oh my gosh, that actually is really happening around the world. And it just was rough.
All right, what's next?
Also, minor correction real quick. Ron H., the sadness is Taiwanese, not South Korean. Okay?
All right.
Just
fact checker Ray here. Okay.
Aviation Gin and Tonic says, Aaron, it's okay. I get Star Trek and Star Wars mixed up sometimes. We all make Wookiee mistakes.
Get it?
It's a Wookiee
Instead of rookie, and get it? Okay.
Aaron,
No plan
Wookiee
words there.
mistakes coming.
All right,
I
what's
love
next?
that. Dr. Bright says fight Vader or eat ketchup and eggs again. Choose one.
Well, I'll vomit eating ketchup and eggs, but I won't die. So, yeah, I'll take that. All right, what's next?
From Sam Fisher, who sends in a $10 super chat. So is Lucasfilm just Star Wars?
You missed one.
Oh, sorry.
Sam
Fisher again. I love the new Andor logo, especially with that negative space O.
It just works, especially like it looks like a tag on a wall. Like it feels like rebellion. They actually put some artistic thought into it. I really like it.
Really
too.
curious if that's an original font. I would love to know the font name.
And I thought the open O, was the Death Star. Because, kind of leading up to that.
Okay.
I mean, it really shouldn't have anything to do with the series.
No, but I was just thinking because they're building the Death Star through the entire duration of this show.
Well, they built the Death Star for like 40 years.
Yeah.
So, yeah. All right. What's next?
So Sam Fisher also sends in another super chat for $10 this time.
Dang.
So is Lucasfilm just Star Wars, Indiana Jones, and Willow? I get that Star Wars is one of the biggest franchises ever, but $4 billion is a lot of money for not having a lot of IP.
Nope. That's it. I mean, they also had some video games.
yeah, video games too.
Yeah.
Aren't they coming out with a new one?
Day of the Tentacle. I remember, actually, my buddy was the director of LucasArts. A buddy of mine was the director of LucasArts. And they did that too. But no, listen, $4 billion for Star Wars is a deal in and of itself.
Yep.
But that really is everything that is Lucasfilm for the most part. All right, what's next?
Stubble McShave says, will we see Manny Brothens with
Manny
Bothans?
Bothans.
Okay.
Wookiee mistake. Will we see Manny Bothans with Mon Mothra in Andor?
No, you're thinking of the wrong Death Star.
Hang on a second. I have to explain what this is.
Manny Bothans fixes my car.
So Manny Bothans is Mon Mothma's lover. And a lot of people think in Return of the Jedi, she's talking about Bothans as a race. Many Bothans died. If you read Kevin Rubio's Tag and Bink comics, you will understand that Manny Bothans was the man that Mon Mothma deeply, deeply loved.
Now, of course, it needs to be pointed out that our buddy Kevin Rubio's Tag and Bink is not canon.
But I want to say the thing about this is that the artist who drew Manny Bothans used me as the model.
Did they?
And they did. If you look up Manuel Bothans in the Star Wars wiki, and you see the drawing of the picture, I gave him Kevin asked me, he goes, I want a picture of you. Because we used to joke about that. Like, what if Mon Mothma was really talking about her lover? It's not Manny Bothans. Manny Bothans is a dude that she loved. I'm him in the comic.
I want to point out that Lucasfilm is also doing the new Monkey Island game.
Now, that's right, because Monkey Island game was part of LucasArts,
and that's going to be a part of your life when it comes out.
I know, Anne loves
that.
That
will be on your screen for a long time.
All right. Jonathan, how much more do we got to go here?
We're getting near the top here.
Okay, let's fly through because we're already well over time.
Okay, Rafael Castillo says, film transfer to 4K better than most digital. True.
I don't agree.
No? Okay.
I don't agree. But that is a topic of discussion. Many people have wide variety of opinions on that. All right, what's next?
Jay Master says, hey, crew, hello. I was crying during the previously on Star Wars opening scene, and I cried during watching the Willow trailer yesterday.
Listen, there are a lot of people, again, it's not the biggest thing to me, Willow. There's a lot of people who cherish their memories of that original.
When you saw your kids, when you saw that, you know.
And to see that come back and hear those musical notes again, I totally get that response, man. Yep. Absolutely. All right, what's next?
From Collie Woolley says, I really do disagree with everyone on Reva. I think she's menacing so far. Smart yet reckless. Wouldn't want to be there on Tatooine, LOL.
Again, listen, I will say this. For what the character is, yes. The performance, I'm a little iffy on right now. Didn't hate it. Didn't take me out of it.
It's a little one note.
It's just meh so far. But what they're saying, who and what she is, loving that. I'm just not there on the performance yet. All right, what's next?
From A. Marcella says, it's so crazy that Obi-Wan is 48 years old here and will turn 57 years old. Obi-Wan portrayed by Air Alec Guinness.
Probably meant
Sir Alec Guinness, yeah.
Yeah, no, his own Jordan. Air Alec Guinness.
I know.
Those are the new shoes I'm going to get. I don't think they've ever said in movie, on screen, Obi-Wan's age.
Yeah.
Either in the original movies, the prequels. I don't think his age is ever said. It's probably mentioned in a book here or there. I don't give a shit about the books anymore.
People age differently in a galaxy far away.
Yeah, and when you're living in that sand world.
Different.
Yeah, when you're living on the Tatooine. All right, what's next?
From Cincinnati's 5-star barber says, oh, Ray, your boy has some big surprises. Inbox me, bro. And damn it if you don't finish the Star Wars OG trilogy and Indiana Jones trilogy. I am done with you. LOL.
That's pretty much the conversation I had with Anne in the first 4 months of us dating. We got 4 months into our relationship, and I could tell this might be going a little bit long term. And that's when I found out she had never watched the original trilogy. I'm like, okay, hey, I really like you. But if this is going to go anywhere, we got to sit down and watch the trilogy. And not to overplay it, but the future of this kind of depends on that. So
you had that exact same conversation with me about my employment here.
Kind of did.
You did. Literally,
Wow.
John gave me he emailed me a list of movies and he said, if you would ever like to come back to this show, these are the movies that you have to watch.
You gotta get
before
these in
your
your
employment
repertoire.
commences, you are required, this is required watching. Much to my husband's delight. You actually strengthened my marriage for educating me about all these movies that Tom could not force me to watch himself, even as my husband.
Wow.
All right, what's next?
From Bold and Brash says, this Pooh, Blood and Honey movie made me think of the Barney movie that was supposed to surprise audiences and subvert expectations.
Honestly, that's the first thing my head kind of went to was that Barney movie with, what was it, Daniel Kaluuya who was attached to that?
Yeah.
But I don't think that's happening anymore. But yeah, that was kind of the first thing. But damn it, I am morbidly really curious about this Pooh, Blood and Honey movie. I want to see this. All right, what's next?
From Ryan Gerger says, hey, John, I rewatched Star Wars Episode 3 before Obi-Wan, and it's still really good. I liked Episode 2 better than Episode 1. I thought the pacing for Episode 1 was a little slow.
Again, I think Star Wars Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith, is the least offensive prequel movie. I think it's the least gut-wrenchingly awful one. It definitely has some good moments in it. Also happens to carry some of the worst moments in the prequels. But yeah, I will concede that I think out of the three, it is the best of the prequels. I think it is. And again, but story-wise, plot beat-wise, it's really a great story, just told very badly. very badly. Anyway, that's just my take on it.
Agreed.
Hey, listen, there are other people who really, really like these movies, and I think there's some good things in them. And anybody who loves those movies, those prequels, I celebrate that. Anything that got you in the family is good for me. All right, what's next?
And Sarah Rose and Denny Sanchez send in some love. Thank you so much for those super chats that everybody sent in. We really appreciate it.
Yes, thank you, Sarah. And guys, that'll do it for today's installment of the John Campea Show. Thank you so much for being here and making this show part of your day. Big special thank you to all you guys who sent in super chats. Number one, because you gave us great fun things to talk about. But number two, you supported this channel as you did it, and all of us involved with the John Campea Show. Thank you guys so very much for your support. Let's bring that image up again, Jonathan. Just want to remind you guys that at 4 p.m. today, 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, we are going to be doing our open spoiler discussion of the first 2 episodes of Obi-Wan. By the way, we're doing it from our new little Studio B. Just a little tiny little studio we got over here. We're going to be doing it from Studio B. Make sure you guys come back and join us for that. I want to thank the people sitting around the table with me. We got Robert Meyer Burnett. We got Aaron Cummings. Over here, of course, we got Ray Ora joining you guys in the chat. And, of course, producer Jonathan. Guys, thanks for being here. My name's John Campea. And until next time, my friends, bye-bye.